Salciunas. This is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Under pressure, do. That was pretty good, wasn't it, Connor?
It was all right.
That's a good start to the show. Eagles won the Super Bowl. We're celebrating that still. What about the other teams in town? It'd be nice if they carried their weight. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade Salciunas.
Jams, baby.
They dominated.
I never saw that coming. The way that defense made Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes look, that's legendary.
Is this real? Like, are we awake right now, or is this just some sort of dream?
Kincade Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good championship Tuesday, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
Still made me smile.
It should make you smile for almost a whole year.
Until next year.
Yeah.
It really does. It puts a smile on my face.
I'm sure.
We've had a really, really nice couple, like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, this entire run. It's been amazing.
Oh, my God. I mean, since the Jags game, honestly. Right? Like, the Jags game was the last game where you were like, oh, my God, what's going on here?
That was the one where we walked around going like, yeah, that was
Because even
crazy.
the tight wins in the playoffs against the Packers and Rams, it was playoff wins. So, like, we looked at it differently than a lot of other people. There were a lot of Eagles fans that were worried about the process moving forward with the Philadelphia Eagles. Where
you have
we
to use the process.
Sorry,
You're trying to set this off.
How about that? It's like I did it on purpose.
It is almost like you did it on purpose.
But, no, I mean,
unless
Eagles,
you're going to cosplay when you say it.
No,
don't.
No.
Please.
No. Right now, I'm not going to do cosplaying for the Philadelphia 76ers because they are breaking my heart. And a lot of other teams now have a lot of pressure on them, at least we believe. So, Johnny, the Eagles win the Super Bowl, but it's not just about winning the Super Bowl in February of 2025. It's about winning the Super Bowl 52, getting back to another one in Super Bowl 57, winning in Super Bowl 59, having a roster that is built where you can have the conversation about the D word, right? It's forming. That's how good this Eagles team is, and that's how good this Eagles team has been across different regimes. The Doug Peterson regime, into the Nick Sirianni regime, and of course, we know all the years of Andy Reid, even though they didn't get the job done ultimately, there was a lot of success. In that span, you had a baseball team that had a 10-year playoff drought, but at least they won a World Series at one point. The Flyers have just kind of been there in my life. Like early 2000s, a lot of fun to watch. 2010, they get to the Cup. Since then, you're in one a year. You're out the next year.
Exactly.
They had a 10-year stretch of in and out, and now they're rebuilding. And then, of course, we all know what the Sixers did for years with the process, and so far it has led to second-round exits still.
So far? Or are you expecting something different? Are you expecting that there's something going to walk through the door that this is all going to change at some point?
No,
it's not.
Right now.
It's good. I'm glad the light bulb's going off for you. I appreciate it.
Unless Joel Embiid gets traded,
yes.
And then that counts toward the process still because he was a part of it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, I need pieces from an Embiid trade to continue the process.
It's still the process.
How about this? The body's dead. The coroner has toe tagged it. It is dead. That period of our lives, worthless.
Yeah, well.
Worthless.
I got to watch some nice days.
Yeah, it's great. You got to see it. Yeah, woo.
What does the Eagles Super Bowl do for the rest of the teams in this city? Does it increase the pressure, or are they their own entity that it shouldn't even matter what one team is doing compared to what the other teams are doing?
I think that what it should mean is that there's a bar of expectation in this city, and there's a bar of expectation in the city that has not been met by the other franchises. The Flyers haven't met it in a generation.
Yeah.
But there has been at least failed plans, but a plan. And now there was a commitment to tearing it down and starting over.
Which I'm in favor of.
And, I'm totally in favor of it. And I hope that before the trade deadline, we see more veterans leave town and we see them get more assets in what should be an amazing draft this year. They got to do it, and they're doing it. I believe they're doing it the right way. The Sixers have been what the Sixers are. I don't need to get myself aggravated at 6:04 in the morning. But they've just been who they are, and they doubled down on a failed philosophy this offseason. Now we get to the Phillies. And the Phillies are, second highest payroll in baseball last year, endless assets. But if you don't make the right decisions, or if you recreate the mistakes of the past, or you don't learn from what causes you to fail, you're never going to be the Eagles. Because what the Eagles do, Andrew, is they rip the Band-Aid off.
Yes.
When things are bad for the Eagles, they say, oh, nobody thinks we can fire the coach who won the Super Bowl a few years ago? Sure we can. Nobody thinks that we can get rid of coordinators or a wholesale change a roster in one off season? Oh, hell yeah, we can. Because the Eagles have an urgency about them. I worry that the Phillies organization does not share their urgency. And I would hope, and what my hope is that somebody would have said, yeah, you know what the Eagles are doing? They're doing it again. They're knocking on the door. Let's see if we can match their urgency. Unfortunately, no other organization in town matches their urgency. I don't want the Flyers to match their urgency.
Right. They're not there yet.
And I wish that the Sixers had done what the Flyers did before doubling down on a failed philosophy.
Well, the Sixers did do it. The Flyers did, just at a much more extreme level.
No. I'm talking about doing it this year.
Oh, okay, this time
that they
around.
kept fooling themselves into saying, yeah, things are going to be different. No, they aren't. Things are not going to be different.
By the way, you mentioned Band-Aids. Wentz. They ripped the Band-Aid off there.
Oh, yes, they did.
How many teams double, triple, quadruple down with what they believe is their franchise quarterback, especially at his age, right? It's not like the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, right? The guy's 40-plus years old. They go, all right, this isn't going to work out. We're going to inform him that we're going in a different direction. Wentz was in his early 20s.
Wentz, they knew when the Eagles figure something out, they don't double down.
Right.
I saw a piece in The Athletic yesterday where the Phillies are going to have a new approach at the plate this year.
Yeah.
They're going to totally change their philosophy.
It's going to cause hard conversations.
It's going to be.
From Matt Gell. I remember Matt Gell wrote that, yeah.
It's going to be, this is going to be a different Phillies team this year. Really? Raise your hand right now if you're buying it. Raise your hand.
I'm buying it.
I see Connor buying
You're buying
it.
it.
I think it's unfair to go into the season saying it's not.
I think they're going to be a good baseball team.
You think they're going to change their philosophies at the plate?
I don't know.
Veteran player.
But
no, you just said you did.
Well, listen, I'll buy it because I'm going to keep an open mind. I can't go into this season with my mind made up. That's unfair to the team.
The thing is, though, your mind made up, they could still be a World Series team.
What do you mean?
My mind is made up. I do not believe the Phillies are all of a sudden going to be a team where the light bulb goes off and they start being disciplined at the plate, start hitting behind the runner, start doing the smart things in baseball, stop giving up runs.
Yeah, what you're saying is they could still get hot.
They could still be a really good team and can win a World Series. But I do not believe for 1 second
that the philosophy's changing, which is what the story in The Athletic said.
that was the philosophy change. I don't believe that's going to happen.
So what we want to discuss today with all of you at 610-632-0975 is what does the Eagles' Super Bowl victory do for the rest of the teams in the city? Does it add to the pressure of the other teams, or are there a lot of people? We talk about how after Super Bowl 52, a lot of Eagles fans got soft, and then the next year it was kind of like, they won the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be critical.
Sure.
Is there any point where they go, all right, screw the Sixers, I got the Eagles. I'm not worried about the Phillies. I got the Eagles. You'll probably watch the games every once in a while, but you're not going to watch it with the same intensity because you know that you always have that safety blanket. We talk about how the quarterback has a safety blanket in the tight end. Philadelphia fans have the safety blanket in the Philadelphia Eagles.
They do. And what we invest in the Eagles, I don't know if you guys have a tank. At your age, you may have a different tank than I have. As far as the tank of passion, the tank of commitment, the tank that you can do. You're a young father.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be able to devote the same amount of time when Coop starts playing Little League and soccer and all that. So the Eagles are going to suck up that tank.
Because they're once a week.
And you're going to make that commitment. But you're not going to be able to be the same Phillies fan you've been or the same Sixers fan as you've been because you're going to have other things that are going to pull at your time.
Don't worry, I'll stream it on Hulu.
That's what I'm here for, boys.
Hulu has live sports.
My tank's full.
So let's hear from you, 610-632-0975. What does the Eagles Super Bowl do for the rest of the teams in the city, if anything at all? And coming up next, Nick Castellanos spoke on the pressure discussion, and he's feeling very little of it. Hear from Nick Castellanos coming up next. It is Kincade Salciunas on this Championship Tuesday. Don't forget that, Johnny, here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
ESPN's Tim McManus on the best show ever.
It does, in a way, feel like the beginning, which is kind of crazy to say because they just won their second Super Bowl title ever, but they
Kincade Salciunas is presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White, they're here for the pro.
It is a championship Tuesday morning here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We appreciate all of you for being a part of this ride as we now embark on another journey to the next football season.
It really is.
I mean, that's all it is, right? But we have other teams in town to talk about as well, and that's why we're wondering, does the Eagles' Super Bowl victory increase the pressure at all for the other teams in this city? And we always talk about apathy settling in for the Sixers or the Sixers fans when it comes to the team. Do they even care that, like, the Eagles win the Super Bowl? Does that do anything to the Sixers, or do people kind of just?
Wouldn't you think it would? Because here's why I think it should.
I think people know the end of the story, like you've already said.
I think they do, but the reason I think it should matter to the Sixers, to the Flyers, to the Phillies, is that you're talking about it's the same customer base.
Yeah.
There are differences. There are some parts of the Eagles fan base that are not Sixers fans.
Mm-hmm.
There are some part of the Flyers fan base that are not Sixers fans. You know what I mean? Like, some of them don't overlap.
Right.
But for the majority, people are fans of all the teams. And they're competing for their money. They're competing for their eyeballs. They're competing for their attention and their love. And you gotta do it.
Right.
You gotta fight for it. And I think that a lot of times people don't. I think there's not an urgency to do that.
Right. So, is there an urgency with the Phillies? Nick Castellanos spoke 2 days ago. By the way, it was actually a fascinating.
It was a really well done piece.
So the clip that I watched, he was asked about why he's representing himself. He no longer has an agent.
Okay.
And it was just
he fired Boris.
Yeah, he's very Nick Castellanos is a deep thinker, maybe sometimes too deep.
I'd just say a unique dude.
Maybe a unique dude is a good way to.
He seems like a
point it.
deep thinker, though. I mean, like, he seems like a guy.
His
that puts a
answer
lot of
on
thought
why
into it.
he's his own agent nowadays representing himself was actually a great answer. I'd suggest you to check it out. But Castellanos was asked about the pressure that the organization is feeling because they did not do much at all this offseason. Here's the quote from Nick Castellanos. I do think we have less pressure as a team this year, especially with everything the media said about us when we lost last year and we didn't really go out and make any crazy changes. So if we lose, you guys look smart, which is dope, right? But then if we win, it's like a happy surprise. So it's kind of a freeing place to play baseball, if you know what I mean.
How do you read that? Because I believe yesterday
You and
when
I
we
looked at it
discussed
differently.
We looked at it differently.
You took it as a shot at the media. I
took it as it's not a major shot, but it's the idea is that, we heard, more importantly, we heard everything that people were saying about us. By the way, they earned every bit of it, Nick.
Absolutely.
They earned every bit of it, Nick.
He never said they didn't.
It's the same exact nonsense that went on the year before.
Earlier in the piece, he was asked about the early postseason exit, and he said, quote, I wouldn't say that we ended bad.
Yes, we did.
Okay. We didn't win, so now I'm on a revenge tour to prove everybody wrong, give everybody the middle finger. That's not really my personality. Baseball's hard, and the Mets were hot, and they beat us. I know that I personally have put in the work to put myself in the position to be ready to play and compete. I'm excited for the opportunity. That's the only thing I can control. So he didn't.
He literally tried to soft pedal last year's exit. And that is compounded on the exit of the year before when you absolutely gagged, and all that we hear about is Red October.
Yes.
For 3 consecutive years, home field has meant nothing when it mattered the most.
Right.
It has been an absolute failure at home. And that is something that Nick Castellanos needs to understand.
Yeah, and so when he says they feel less pressure, I think the Phillies, out of all the teams, have the most pressure when it comes to what the Eagles have accomplished.
No question.
Or if we're just focusing on them themselves. Like if we're ranking the pressure order, Flyers, I would say, are at the bottom because they're rebuilding. Eagles can never be at the bottom because they're the Eagles. But like the Phillies, like, you have a championship roster, and you've
underachieved 2 years. Honestly, for most of 22, you underachieved.
Yeah.
And you got hot at the end. For 23 and 24, you absolutely underachieved.
I will never excuse them for the 23 NLCS. I can live more with last year than 23, to be completely honest.
Really?
Yeah,
Their
dude.
best year.
Yeah.
Their best year, you can live more?
That's how much the Diamondbacks
That
series
Diamondbacks thing was
pained
atrocious.
me.
But it doesn't seem like Nick's like, I wouldn't say it ended badly. Yeah, Nick, it did.
It ended badly.
Did. But guess what? Your customer base does.
Yeah.
Your customer base thinks it does.
Now, coming up next, we continue the discussion of the Eagles being the golden child. And John Kincade thinks none of the teams in the city can come close to what the Eagles have been able to accomplish. And we're not just talking about this past season. Phillies could win a World Series this year.
They could.
We're talking about the span of 10, 15, 20 years. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Keeping an eye on the coaches, I'm Connor Thomas, and the Kellen Moore poaching season continues to be open as the NFL offseason gets going for the Birds. In addition to Doug Nussmeier and Christian Parker, Eagles running backs coach Jamal Singleton has reportedly interviewed for a Saints coordinator job as well this week. He interviewed for the Saints OC job. So we'll keep an eye on that as 3 now position coaches have taken a look at opportunities in New Orleans under new head coach Kellen Moore. So who will be the Eagles' new OC? Well, Jeff McClain spoke to us last week about the chances that it will be Eagles passing game coordinator Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
A lot of moving pieces here. We will keep you updated on the coaching news surrounding the Birds. In hockey, the final of the Four Nations face-off is set for Thursday night. It's going to be the USA taking on Canada. It's a rematch from this past Saturday, a contest which USA won 3-1. So a big nation showdown on that one. We'll talk to Pete Prisco coming up at 9 a.m., and Amy Fadul will join us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by the Truist Championship at Philadelphia Cricket Club. The PGA's Truist Championship will be played at Philadelphia Cricket Club in early May. Watch top tour players. Enjoy a variety of fan activities. Tickets on sale at truistchampionship.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can still hear all your favorite Fanatic shows
Favorite kids, unless you're John and I with only one. That makes it a little bit easier.
I tell her she's my favorite kid.
But right now, everybody's favorite child when it comes to the Philadelphia sports scene is the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, they just won the Super Bowl, right? They just brought home the A on their report card. Some of the other kids are bringing home Fs.
Have they been yours all along?
Well, my entire life?
Or have the Sixers been your favorite child? Have
Phillies have been my favorite
Phillies have been
one.
your favorite child.
Sixers are a very close second.
Like for my dad, the Phillies were his favorite.
Yeah.
No question, my uncles.
That's because I played baseball as much as I did, but I loved basketball, man. Like I love the Sixers. I love the Sixers. I don't love the product right now, but I love that team.
I think you're the oddity though, that
I know.
because I was figuring it that Eagles would probably be your third.
Yeah, but that's like
But recency bias,
very thin margin.
thin margin.
Yeah.
But Connor, does yours go that way?
It's weird because baseball is a sport that I love, but the Eagles are the team that I love the most. So it kind of flip-flops based on whether the Eagles or Phillies
Yeah, it's
are
constantly
in better
changing.
spot.
Like I think back when I was a kid, my dad got me Sixers tickets for my birthday. I cried.
Really?
I cried.
Well, a lot of kids cry, yeah.
Going to a Sixers game.
I know a lot of people crying going to Sixers games.
No, it's not
They
that
understand it.
not that kind of cry, right? Like the Sixers, I love them. It's just they don't love me back sometimes.
But I'm just wondering what they've done to you in your lifetime to earn that kind of.
I grew up with Allen
Oh,
Iverson.
You grew up with but
That was my
I'm
first
saying,
taste of success.
You were
in Philadelphia
8.
sports.
I understand you were
Yeah.
8. But the thing is that they've just literally kicked you in the private since.
Look, it's like you see
It's an abusive relationship.
you see a girl, the love of your life, on the boardwalk when you're a teenager one summer, and then you try to find her every summer after that,
And you think, oh, she's going to be there again?
and she never is. And that's the
No.
that's the Sixers since I was 8 years old. So, Johnny, you don't think any of these teams can recreate the success that the Eagles have had? Is that true?
Not with the information that I have right now to work with today.
Okay.
Do I hope or wish or whatever? Yeah, I do. Do I have faith? I have faith that the Flyers have a plan to try to create it, but the Flyers' long history of not being able to get it done makes me think maybe you're wishing and hoping too much. The Phillies, I don't believe are set for it because, for one thing, I think they've signed some stupid contracts. I think they're old, and I don't think that's going to – I think the window on the Phillies is very tight.
Let me ask you, what
Yes.
was the stupid contract at the time of the signing?
And I said it at the time. I go to my Twitter, Trey Turner.
I didn't know you were saying that at the time.
Trey Turner.
Okay.
Trey Turner is not a player who, to me, I'm going to commit to till he's like 40 years old.
Okay.
And then I have another guy I'm going to commit to till I'm like 40 years old. It's not a
So you're not complaining about the Harper
Plus,
contract or the
no,
Castellanos or
no, Harper
Schwarber,
Harper contract, it's funny is that
it's a steal.
back in and at the time, I looked at the numbers and I'm thinking, wow, in 3 or 4 years, this is going to look like a steal.
Yeah.
This is going to end up being, and since he didn't do the opt-out, which, by the way, ended up screwing him,
Yeah.
because you've already seen, Machado.
Yeah.
Manny Machado's already gotten his new deal because he was smart enough to put the opt-out in. I don't know what Bryce was thinking, not doing that, because he deserved to put that in and he didn't. And, he sort of screwed himself.
Yeah.
I believe the window on the Phillies is far shorter. Far shorter. I think 2025 almost has got to be it. Because if I'm hearing stuff about re-upping with JT Realmuto, at that point I'm saying, okay, they're going to go down the route of 2011 that they did before, and then we're going to go through the period of purgatory. And I don't like it.
Yeah. Unless you're re-upping him for a very
Like 2
team-friendly
years.
deal and you have another catcher you're splitting time with. Because here's the deal. I'm not ready to turn the keys to Rafael Marchand.
No, but here's what I'm saying to you is that I don't believe in the formula. I don't believe in the formula they put together. Could they prove me wrong? Sure. Do I believe that formula is going to get them 90-some wins this year?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think they have a fantastic pitching staff. But I don't believe in the formula of guys where for 3 consecutive years I've watched in the postseason, when teams figure out we don't have to throw them strikes.
Yeah.
They'll get themselves out. And I don't believe that's changing.
Yeah, and I've hated the
And
Sixers.
if they prove me wrong, I'll be glad to say that I was completely incorrect.
And I've hated the Sixers formula for like 6 years now, the constant changing of stars. And because I hear the same, again, this is coming from one of the biggest defenders of the Sixers in the city, I've been hating it for years because it's the same excuse. Well, they didn't have enough time to play with one another. I heard Brett Brown say that. I've heard Doc Rivers say that.
Sure.
I've heard Nick Nurse now say that. And Nick Nurse is just in his second year as the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers.
You've heard Joel Embiid say it. You've heard James Harden say it. Those type of things.
Yeah.
Your defenses of the Sixers, though, have hardly ever annoyed me. I don't think you're when you defend the Sixers, you don't defend the Sixers in a way that's just like shake the pom-poms fanboy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've disagreed on your defenses of the big man.
Of course.
But you, I believe, are very level-headed in your defenses.
Well, thank you. I'm proud
give you
to
that
be
pat
level.
on the
I'm
back.
proud to be level-headed.
I think you are.
So, what does the Eagles Super Bowl do for the rest of the teams in this city? Does it actually increase any pressure, or are part of you like, I don't care about the other teams in this city right now to the extent that I normally would because I'm fully focused on the Eagles trying to repeat. 610-632-0975. Let's go to Mike in the Lehigh Valley. Mike, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How are you?
What's up,
Good,
Mike?
buddy.
So I think one of the biggest things to kind of look at is the Eagles came into the season with more of an urgency at head coach because Nick was on the hot seat. And I feel like the two major coaches in this city right now, Thompson and Nick Nurse, are getting too complacent because they aren't really on a hot seat, especially Thompson with his bullpen decisions the last two playoffs costing us the Mets series and the Diamondback series. And Nurse hasn't lived up to expectations at all since he's been brought in.
I will say this. I don't think Thompson's decisions against the Mets cost him. I think Jeff Hoffman just blew up. That wasn't on top.
That was more of and the offense.
You want to give me 2 years ago, Craig Kimbrell? Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think he went to Jeff Hoffman. I would have gone to Jeff Hoffman every time that Thompson went to him. I would have.
Yeah, you would have done it too. Thanks,
thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Mike. We appreciate it.
Every time that Rob Thompson pushed the button and made that call, and said, "I'm going to go with Jeff Hoffman."
Yeah, dude, everybody's stuff.
Right,
You could have put anybody out there. They were all giving up bombs.
I mean, Castellanos and Harper were the only two consistent players in that series.
And
now here's the amazing thing. And John, I remember we've talked about this since the show started, that you were rolling your eyes at the time. When I was in Clearwater last year, there was an urgency from the players.
I heard there was.
From Thompson. And look, 95 wins tells you they backed it up. They got to the playoffs and shrunk. So
they did the opposite of what they did the last 2 years.
Right. I don't think they don't have an urgency going into a season. And I'm not going to say they don't have an urgency come playoff time. They obviously do. But whatever spunk they have when they're like the underdog or everybody's against us, when they were the top dog last year, they shriveled. And they shriveled in the NLCS when they were the top dog.
When the pressure's on them, they're a poor bunch.
They choke.
I hate that word. You and I disagree. I do not like that word because I think it's more of the idea is that there are people who are comfortable when all the eyeballs aren't on them. And this team is not one that has done it. And by the way, it comes and Bryce Harper has had spectacular moments.
Absolutely.
But he's also had moments where he has disappeared in the biggest moments. But he has so many great signature moments.
Right.
That it's all celebrated. But there are others. Like you just brought up Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos gets a lot of grief. And Nick Castellanos was one of the reasons I was still clapping in October.
He was their team MVP last year. Over the entire season.
If you say whole season, you are not incorrect. He was
their team MVP. Unless you want to go like Zach Wheeler, which fine. But in terms of everyday position players, Nick Castellanos was your best player last year.
I don't. The thing is, though, is that you get the idea is they rolled it back last year. And I was okay with rolling it back
because of that sense of urgency.
Yes.
They're doing it again.
Yeah, they rolled it back again, and to me, I do not believe the old leopard changes its spots.
Right.
I don't buy it at all, and I don't believe that the hitting coach has a magic elixir to change things. So that is, there's no the Phillies didn't react with urgency, while everyone around them. The Dodgers won the World Series. They reacted with urgency
Yeah, they
to
did.
get better. The Mets beat the Phillies.
Diamondbacks, dude.
They
Diamondbacks,
reacted with
Sure.
urgency.
Don't give me the Dodgers. Players chose the Dodgers because they won a ring.
I got you. But there are other teams that have done more this offseason.
I hear about this team being a team that people want to play for.
Used to be.
Could be.
So, coming up next, what did the Eagles do for the other teams in this city in terms of the pressure increase? We'll check the text line for the first time this morning coming up next. Also, we'll focus a little bit more on the Sixers. We've touched on them. But do the Sixers have an increase of pressure, or do they even have any feeling left? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
Nick Sirianni clearly had the guys on the razor's edge ready to go out there, whether it was Jalen Hurts, whether it was Vic Fangio.
Some point in my life, that'd be really cool. Our topic today, what does the Eagles Super Bowl win do for the pressure of the other teams? Does it increase it at all for the other teams? And we've focused a lot more on the Phillies so far because of what Nick Castellanos had to say. Castellanos said there's no pressure for the team or less pressure for the team because people are starting to count them out. It's going to be the us against the world mentality for the Phillies this year. They went into last year with the sense of urgency. It worked for a long time, and then it stopped. Maybe they feel more comfortable with the us against the world mentality. Whatever it takes as a player, you do you. I think you're still going to be a good baseball team, so you got to back it up. But the Sixers, Johnny, does the Eagles Super Bowl do anything for them when it comes to the pressure conversation? Or is there even a conversation left with this team? And that's the scary thing.
Nathan wants to ask us a question.
What's up, Nathan?
Would we loves the show, by the way.
Thank you.
Would you take the next 5 years after this one? So after this season ends.
Okay.
Would you take the next 5 years of the Sixers or Flyers?
Flyers.
Really? Like you answered that without even a
Flyers
You answered that without I even hesitate on this one.
I'd probably go Sixers.
The Flyers are rebuilding, and I would imagine within the next 5 years, the arrow's pointing up. Within
I
the
think
next 5 years. Where's the arrow for the Sixers?
I got you, but let's say the Sixers have more concrete assets that could be moved to create. They're closer.
Who wants Paul George?
No, I'm not talking about Paul George.
Who wants? All right, so Tyrese Maxey.
I'm not talking about Tyrese Maxey.
All right, so the big man. What is the big man actually getting you when the guy can't play?
Listen, man, De'Aaron Fox just got 4 first.
I know,
but he can't play.
Anthony Davis doesn't play, and they got Luka Doncic, but that may have been one of the worst trades in the history of the NBA.
I got you, but weird stuff happens. The Flyers don't have a Joel Embiid to move to immediately put 3 pieces that could be good.
They're not looking to move. They're looking to build. Whereas if the Sixers, you know how I feel if the Sixers move Embiid, it's done. It's done.
No, I feel you.
Turn out the lights, the party's over.
I don't think they're all of a sudden winning in 2 to 3 years with Tyrese Maxey. I like Tyrese Maxey a lot as a elite complementary piece. All right, to Joel Embiid. Once Joel Embiid's not on the court, you see what happens to this team.
Yeah, but there's 5 dudes on the court. The Flyers have more of a team to build, and I could put Maxey on the level that Michkov is on. I'd put Maxey above where Michkov is on.
Should be.
So you have to
Maxey
add 4
should be
pieces.
above Michkov right now.
Absolutely.
Right. Not in potential though. Not in potential.
Yeah, no, I got you. But I'm saying next
That's
5
why
years.
I think 5 years. I think in 5 years, I have no question that Michkov will be bigger in his sport than Maxey will be in his.
That's why I'm going with the Flyers. If I'm doing stocks, right? Which stock are you buying right now?
The thing is, though, is that you didn't even hesitate.
No.
And I expected you to hesitate. I said to Nathan, I would probably go right now 60 to 65% Flyers.
I mean, you know how I'm with this Sixers team. I'm going down with the ship of Joel Embiid. I am. Does that mean I think they're going to win a championship with him? I can't tell you that confidently.
Well, you can't think that anymore.
No, I can't.
If you do,
it's only hope that remains with him.
If you do believe that, someone needs an intervention.
Right,
if you still believe this thing can be, it can work, or Joel's going to all of a sudden have a different attitude and a different approach
for a year.
Yeah. Or actually, do the surgery when he needs to do the surgery, not do selfish things, do things that are more about the franchise. If you believe those things are going to happen now at his age, now that he's got the big bag, it's never happening.
Right.
It's never happening.
So,
but that contract extension may make him easier to move.
You were talking
because
about
somebody gets 4 years of control.
Right.
If they trade for him, which makes him far more valuable. If you think he can play, you think he's going to play. Do you think he's going to play 200 games? If I put the over under at 220 games in the next 4 seasons.
Under.
So do I.
Yeah, under.
So I don't think you're getting anything for. I don't think you're getting any.
Obese
King's
Luka
ransom
Doncic
for.
just got a haul.
Yeah, I know.
That dude's 4,000 pounds according to the Dallas Mavericks.
There could be a bad trade, but who knows? Look, so is there any feeling left toward that team? I don't know. I don't know if the Eagles winning even adds pressure to them. I don't think there's a pulse for a lot of people.
I think it's good for the Sixers that the Eagles won. Very good.
Explain this one.
I think it had been good for the Sixers. Now that there's only 2 teams active and everybody knows the deal with the Flyers is rebuild, your first game back from the All-Star break is against the Celtics.
I got you. You're not thinking about the alternative. Let's live in a world where the Eagles lost the Super Bowl.
And
where does our attention turn to the Sixers? Like, what is our emotion towards?
It's vitriol.
We're like, kill this team.
Yeah.
Now it's just kind of like, all right, they stink, but we have a Super Bowl, so we don't really care. Whatever.
Well,
we've already accepted it.
And what's funny is that, Connor, that's the attitude that I'm very concerned that I'm going to have. And I'm very worried that the fan bases will have where they don't hold these teams accountable.
The teams themselves
because we get fat and happy.
The teams themselves don't want the fans to be that way.
I'm sure they don't.
Because you know what it is? You have season tickets. I don't need to go tonight. Like that last game they played, I know the weather was bad. The last game after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right before the All-Star break, where there were players there, and you could hear through the TV broadcast what fans were chanting about Josh Harris and screaming about Cooper DeJean should be on the Sixers because he's probably better than half the team. Like, that's bad, dude, when it's that loud.
They got to turn down the boom mics. They got to turn down the crowd ambiance mics at times and let us hear Kate Nala better or some of the national ones. But it's the idea is that right now the Eagles should have lit a fire under people's backsides.
I would hope so.
I think the Flyers have that fire lit under them, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take, and it's not going to be next year. The Flyers are going to be younger and less experienced next year.
Right.
But they will be more talented next year.
Yeah,
They will have more talent, but it will be young.
Yeah, I just think for the Sixers this season, with everything that's gone wrong, it's almost best that people aren't focusing on them or have something else to be happy about. Like, once the offseason rolls around, we can't just let this organization skate and say, well, it doesn't matter from here on. But for this season, it's probably in their best interest that people aren't paying as much attention.
All right, let's check the text line. You can text in, call in 610-632-0975. What does the Eagles' Super Bowl victory? They're second in 7 years, 8 seasons, right? Their third appearance in 8 seasons. What does the success for the Eagles do for the other teams?
Amazing.
I know, it's amazing, right? And then you look at the other teams, and it's like, all right, Phillies got there. Flyers.
Phillies have gotten there.
Sixers.
Phillies have gotten there 3 times in in the 23 years of this century. The Phillies have gotten there 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
08,
Eagles,
9,
the Eagles have gotten them there.
22.
The Eagles have gotten there 3 times.
Sixers once, Flyers once.
And Sixers once, Flyers once.
And Sixers at the beginning.
Yes.
A long time ago.
First year.
What do we got on the text line?
All right, no name on this one, but they say the Eagles should definitely be a model for all other teams. One of the biggest differences between them and the other teams is the trust in the coach. In the Eagles, there wasn't any trust in Nick warranted, but still. In the Phillies and Sixers, there is too much trust in Rob Thompson, who's blown the last 2 playoffs with bullpen decisions, and Nick Nurse, who's underperformed since he got here.
Is that the same guy that called in? I don't think Thompson blew the playoffs last year. The team sucked.
I think the offense blew the playoffs last year.
And Jeff Hoffman, I'm going to Jeff Hoffman.
Jeff Hoffman, you never could have seen that coming.
Yeah.
You never could have seen it coming.
The only one I didn't like about Hoffman, he had him warming up like 6 times.
Correct.
And then at that point, his arm was probably dead, and he went to him. But Rob Thompson didn't blow the series last year.
He did not.
What, was he going to swing the bat for Harper? Come on, man.
Come on.
All right, coming up next, we'll get back to our topic. We'll reset the show. We'll check more of our text messages. Still a lot in store for you today. Pete Prisco joins us at 9 o'clock today.
He does.
He has a lot to say.
I didn't tell him what to expect.
He had a ridiculous set of takes about quarterbacks. Tell you about that more later on the show today as well. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
More interviews with more. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Kellen Moore poaching season has continued. It's open right now on the Philadelphia Eagles assistant coaches as the NFL offseason begins for the Birds. Doug Nussmeier and Christian Parker, 2 assistants for the Birds, have interviewed for coordinator positions down in New Orleans under new head coach Kellen Moore, former Eagles OC, and now running backs coach Jamal Singleton has reportedly interviewed for the Saints offensive coordinator job as well. So 3 assistants potentially looking at a move to New Orleans. So the Eagles have to keep an eye on that and also decide on who their new offensive coordinator will be. In the wake of Kellen Moore leaving, Jeff McClain spoke to us last week about the chances it will be Eagles passing game coordinator Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
So a lot of moving parts here. We'll keep you updated on everything with the coaching carousel. In hockey, the final of the Four Nations face-off is set for Thursday night. It's going to be USA-Canada in a rematch. USA won the previous contest 3-1 on Saturday. We'll talk to Pete Prisco coming up at 9 a.m. Amy Padul for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Not only can you listen to
Does it increase the pressure for other teams? I have a question about the Flyers, John.
Okay.
Because so far we've focused Phillies because of the Nick Castellanos quotes, which I'll reread for you here momentarily. Then we moved on to the Sixers, and they're all different levels, right? So the Phillies level of pressure, Eagles win the Super Bowl or not, the pressure's on them this year.
All right.
Right?
Sure,
Because they've taken
absolutely.
that step back the last 2 years. Eagles win the Super Bowl or not, the city of Philadelphia is miserable with the Sixers. Right? I get what Connor's saying. It may actually be best for them that they won because there's less vitriol now in the city. But regardless of the Sixers winning or Eagles winning or losing, the Philadelphia 76ers being 20-34
is just awful.
It's terrible.
They're the 7th worst record in basketball.
With
And
one
remember-
of the higher payrolls in basketball?
Yes. And remember, if they don't finish when the ping pong balls, or that formula that comes out,
Top 6 protected.
if they have the 7th pick, they don't have it.
Yeah.
If they get the 7th pick, so they could be heading into an offseason where they got nothing.
Which is bad.
And they have bad contracts.
Right. So when it comes to the Flyers, they're rebuilding.
Yes.
Now, we have conversed with Flyers fans.
Sure.
There are some people that have already lost patience, which is crazy. They're rebuilding. And they've been very open and honest with their plan of rebuilding. But we've gone through a rebuild with the Sixers. Is there less patience with the Flyers because of what the Sixers did? And the Eagles, who look like they were heading toward rebuilds, all of a sudden retool, and they're back in the Super Bowl a couple of times.
Well, first off, the Flyers aren't doing it like other teams did. They're doing it. The Flyers are doing it much like other teams did in the NBA that have actually retooled their teams, done slight teardowns or almost major teardowns down to the studs, and managed to turn it around and win championships. We've seen teams do it. They're doing it very honestly, too. They're telling you. They're very transparent. They're telling you exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it and how they're doing it. But the one thing they're doing, too, is they're still saying it's important for our organization to be competitive. It's important for our organization to still play the game the right way, not to just lose on purpose.
Right.
And not to think that's a great strategy.
Which, who knows, when I still remember when Embiid and Simmons were here, they walked around like they were gods within the organization. I'm not saying within the fan base. They were supposed to, right? They were supposed to be the people that carried us back to the promised land. But they walked around the building, and the staff treated them as such.
And what's the difference? Matvei Mishkov is the most talented player, if you're talking skill set. Most talented skill set, I believe, since Eric Lindros put on a Flyers jersey. Complete package of young talent. And what has the Flyers organization done?
They've benched him.
Held him accountable.
Yeah.
Taught him some lessons. And if you actually don't listen to the pearl-clutching Flyers media, who's like, he's going to ruin Mishkov. If you actually listen to Mishkov himself, he appreciates it. He likes hard coaching. He understands the lessons that he's being taught. He understands he's got to get better and better conditioned and better. He's got to get used to it. There's a completely different mindset. You're a star and you're coming in here, but we're going to teach you the right way to do things, and we're not going to let it just be about us losing.
Yeah, but how long does the fan base allow it to happen?
Well, I will tell you that the stuff I read about when I read stuff online about the Flyers rebuild and fans' impatience with it, they're not paying attention. I look at them and say, and it's not just because I worked in the sport for a long time and I think I understand it, the inner workings of it better than I understand even the other sports.
Okay.
I look at them and I go, I read what they have to say and I just say, I shake my head. I said, you don't understand it. This is year 2 of a total teardown. They're not supposed to be good.
No.
By the way, they were better last year in year 1 of a rebuild than they should have been. They're better this year than they should have been. And I don't think people understand what a rebuild is. They want a rebuild, but they want a fast fix.
Right, exactly.
You're not getting a fast
It's
fix.
that microwave society, Johnny, us millennials caused.
With what Keith Jones and Danny Briere are doing, you're not getting a quick fix. You're getting a fix that is going to be hopefully done right.
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN and WPN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. What did the Eagles Super Bowl do for the pressure with the other teams in the city? Nick Castellanos spoke about pressure. I do think we have less pressure as a team this year, especially with everything the media said about us when we lost last year. and we didn't really go out and make any crazy changes. So if we lose, you guys look smart, which is dope. But then if we win, it's like a happy surprise. So it's kind of a freeing place to play baseball, if you know what I mean.
Which is dope.
It's dope, man.
It's like 2017 again?
Nah, man. People still say dope. I say dope like every day.
He does say dope.
Yeah, but Connor, we say it about you, but we love you. I mean, it's the dope.
Well, yeah, dope in the 70s when you grew a dumb person, but now dope means cool.
By the way, Todd Rice checks in on Twitter.
Hi, Todd.
I don't think pressure is the word. All of these professional athletes want to / are here to win a championship. Hopefully, it adds to that determination.
Did you read my response to him?
No.
Read my response to him.
All of them?
All of them?
I don't share your assessment. Yes, most pro athletes are devoted to the pursuit and do everything in their power to reach that goal. Others get distracted by personal desires and refuse to put the team first. Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Got a big one in the Sixers uniform. Hey, no, it's not about winning a championship. He did everything to pursue interests that were outside the team and what was best for the franchise.
Well, it was a
to do something for himself.
Yeah, gold medal, damn it.
Yeah, so a personal pursuit.
And look,
he did not do anything. In fact, he purposely, because he made these decisions, he purposely hurt his franchise's chance to compete.
Right, and let's face it.
He trashed a season.
Not every athlete, a lot of athletes play professional sports because they can, because of how good they are. Like Anthony Rendon, I know I'm going outside of Philadelphia here. He's straight upset. He doesn't like baseball anymore.
No, that it's a job.
It's a job. So there are players that have that mindset.
I believe there are very few that I've navigated here.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say that.
You can't here.
And I think
a lot of guys can't here.
I got to tell you this. I would believe and again, I'm in the Phillies clubhouse 8 to 10 times a year. So I am not an expert. But I can tell you the attitude that I see in there, the professionalism I see in there, I believe the Phillies would never tolerate it. I believe that the Phillies would not tolerate somebody going rogue like that.
Dude, they almost traded a 28-year-old arbitration-eligible player that was an all-star starter this year.
I was about to say,
because of his sulking and his behaviors.
Yeah,
yes, because they hold people accountable.
Have you noticed the media tour going on with him now?
Oh, yeah, it's changed.
Do you think it's a media tour?
It's we've seen a different Alex since he got here.
He's got a new attitude.
He's been there for a day.
But
Connor, every first day of school for me growing up,
you had all your books.
This is my year.
You took notes, right?
Yeah.
You took the effective notes.
I might get a B in English this year.
My first
day of school, I was always in the right place.
My first couple weeks of every single semester, the notes were kept
exactly.
right. I had everything. And then I'd sort of wander.
Yeah, let me see Alec Bohm go 0 for 10. And then we'll talk about whether or not the attitude's changed.
I don't think about it that way. Like it's the same way when John hears the approach has changed. He's like, I don't believe it, right? Like I'm going to leave my mind open to that possibility being a thing, and I know you guys are too.
Look, we've seen it with the Eagles, right? Nick Sirianni grew. Jalen Hurts grew as a leader. There's a chance I don't want to say he's only 28 because damn it, I'm 31. We're not that far off, Alec, but. In terms of Major League Baseball, he's only 28. Maybe he can grow into that more veteran form.
Do I believe Alec Bohm can put up numbers comparable to last year? Yeah, sure. Do I believe Alec Bohm will be exposed at critical times by the best teams that you got to beat? Yes.
Yeah, history will tell you that.
He's going to get – that's why winning regular season games is great. It's awesome. But it doesn't in any way do anything but get you to a table – where with their payroll, they sure as hell should be there every year.
Yeah, they absolutely should be. What do we got in the text line this morning there, Connor?
All right. Hang on 1 second as I load it up. So we have a check-in here. They say, good morning, fellas. This is my thought on a run with the Sixers if the Dallas Mavericks can make a run with Dirk. I know there's a run with Embiid, and I get that can come off as pom-pomsy, but that's where I am at least. So look, some people still believe.
I believe, talent-wise, there could be a run. But here's the difference between Dirk and Joel Embiid. The year they went to the NBA Finals, Dirk played in 78 games. Joel doesn't do that.
And what did Paul George do last year? What did he do last year before he came here? In his contract year. What did he do? Showed up to work.
Yeah, played a bunch.
He showed up to work. He was always available.
I'm sorry, wrong game. Dirk played in 81 games that year.
I'm just saying when these contracts come up, all of a sudden motivation is through the roof. Through the roof. I'm here. Look, I can. And then once the paycheck comes in, all of a sudden the motivation changes. It's why the NBA product sucks.
Yeah.
It's a and they're feeling it.
Did you see the anonymous owner that spoke out about Adam Silver? All he cares about is these in-season tournaments and all-star games, but not the actual product.
Adam Silver's been I think, a feckless leader.
The last couple of years, he's been a disaster. All right, coming up next. I forgot to bring this up yesterday. Parade stuff.
Really?
We talked about the parade a little bit yesterday because it was Monday, and obviously we did the parade coverage leading up to it on Friday. There was a moment that Saquon Barkley had on Friday that should be celebrated by absolutely everyone. So we'll revisit the parade a little bit coming up next. Of course, we'll check our text messages and our calls on today's topics. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
The best Philly sports victory of all time.
Talking about the Super Bowl 59 champion Eagles.
Here we go. A coach and a quarterback who were down it all season long, wound up sticking it up everybody's nose, including mine, and walked out into the New Orleans night last night, maybe with the status of being the best coach and the best quarterback in Eagles history. The hell is happening in this town?
Listen weekdays 10 a.m. to 2. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
What's up, guys? Andrew. College basketball is reaching its most exciting stretch of the season. And right now, new customers on FanDuel get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $150 to bet on everything from conference clashes to tournament upsets and even who's cutting down the nets. I know that the bracket obviously is not even out there yet, but you can already start looking at futures bets in terms of teams that will win the entire championship. How about to reach the Final Four? Odds are already out. Auburn, the favorite at -150 to reach the Final Four. Duke at -115. The rest of the teams are in plus money. Alabama and Houston both at +165. I always like Houston in tournament play. So just check it out. If you've been waiting to join FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, there's no better time. The app's super easy to use, and when you win, you pay it instantly. So visit FanDuel.com/fanatic. That's FanDuel.com/fanatic and get in on all the college hoops action before March takes over. You got to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit.
7 o'clock hour of Kincade Salciunas is brought to you by the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. You can play your favorite casino games at Bet Sports. You love to play and you play to win. So if you bet Parks, you got to be 21 in Pennsylvania or Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It is a championship Tuesday here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. And, today's topic is about how the Eagles winning impacts the rest of the teams in the city. But real quick, to continue to celebrate the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, to still highlight them, I forgot to bring this up yesterday. So I told you last
You're
week.
laughing big time on this.
No, I'm laughing at, again, I was on Green Bay radio the other day.
Which I still don't understand. That's
They love
the weirdest,
Dude, are they paying
That's the
you?
weirdest thing.
Maybe one day they will.
Here's our weekly check-in on Philadelphia with Andrew Salciunas.
So one of the questions they asked me was who was the MVP of the parade? Who was the star of the parade? And, I mentioned that Nolan Smith, if we were talking alcohol, Nolan Smith. If we're talking speech, I would say Landon Dickerson, but I thought Hurts really had a great press conference. It wasn't about yelling and screaming, right? You had the yelling and screaming Landon Dickerson, then you had like the cool, calm, and collected Jalen Hurts. But I thought the star of the parade itself, the route, was Saquon. Did you see what Saquon did? There were two incredible moments that he had during the parade route. Now, he was off the bus a lot, high-fiving people.
You mean the ball boy one?
The ball boy one.
Who isn't a boy, by the way?
So that was the first thing I said,
like a guy.
He, first off, really cool for him to see the ball boy and go, why aren't you with us?
Right.
Like, you're a part of the team.
I can't believe that they weren't invited.
I found that odd because, the strength and conditioning team, which, by the way, they should be on there. I'm just saying, like, the parade is not just the players. Parade is the entire staff.
If somebody in the marketing department is on a float, a bus.
I imagine chefs, cooking staff were probably on the bus.
Then I believe the ball boys should absolutely be there.
Yeah, there's somebody somewhere that probably had to draw the line of this is how many people we can have. And for whatever reason, that person, I'd like everyone to be there, though. Your point stands.
And so he sees the ball man. And picks
Can we
him
say
up.
ball boy? Ball man just doesn't sound.
He's not a ball boy, though.
Ball guy. Ball guy.
He could drink.
Heard you're a big ball guy. You know ball.
I do know ball.
So
yeah.
Saquon picks this man up.
Yes.
Who was on the other side of the railing.
Correct. How strong can you be?
That railing is 4 feet high?
Yes. Like 3 feet high. Probably.
Okay, still.
But it's
trying
amazing.
to pick me up 6 inches,
It's amazing.
John. 3 feet high. He lifts him up over the railing and just deadlift. Like, it's unbelievable. And then there was another one. There was a girl who her birthday was parade day. It was her third birthday.
Right.
And they made a sign for the little girl, like, it's my birthday. And Saquon ran up to her, could have just, given her a high five or maybe just taken a quick picture. He picked her up and put her on his shoulder.
And then held the sign with the other hand.
Crowd's going nuts. She gets a picture of a lifetime with Saquon Barkley. Like, this dude, not only is he Mr. 2000,
but he gets it.
He's also a great guy and belongs in the city, man.
I love how about them bringing the young man who was victimized in the terrorist attack on New Year's Day.
He was still in his wheelchair. They lifted him up onto the bus.
Seriously. I mean, it was incredible, and then brought him up on stage for during the speeches.
The connection that
I think Gilly the Kid knocked him over once trying to get in front of the camera.
Connection
but
that
it was
this
good.
Eagles team. No, it was Big Dom. The connection.
Big Dom. Big Dom was getting his photo time, but I was surprised he was more low key than I thought.
He was.
He got the chance to speak. He said 4 words and then moved on.
The connection that this Eagles team had with this city
was amazing.
Was special. I mean, we've talked about other teams in this city and the love. Look, if you win, you'll always be loved. Always.
Yes.
But there was a special bond with this city and this team. And I don't know if it was the odds were against them going into the year, and a lot of people were angry about it, so they had the teams back. And I get it. At times this year, look, we spoke with people that were very critical or upset with the product. Hell, we had a caller 2 weeks into the playoffs saying that the Eagles have a quarterback problem. But for the most part, I think there was a really strong bond between the fans and this team this year, and it showed on parade day with over 1.5 million people in attendance.
It was wild.
And the way the players interacted with the fans, walking up and down and not just sitting on the bus the whole time.
I know this, and I'm sure the Eagles are going to do something with it. There is overhead photography and drone footage of all of the entire parade route, and there were absolutely more people at this parade than 2018.
And
That's
I think,
awesome.
Friday, Valentine's 3-day weekend because of President's Day. Maybe a lot of people took off.
I think parades should always be on a Friday or a Saturday.
Damn right, Johnny.
Absolutely.
Like, make it where more people don't have to decide, do I go to work or not? Or can I take a long weekend? Can I do that? Don't have a parade on a Wednesday.
I agree with you.
Or a Thursday.
People can wait.
And do that. It's about the players getting out of town.
They can wait too.
Yeah, exactly. They want to go on vacation.
Players want to go on
They can
vacation
wait.
and get home.
You remember when Jokic was upset?
And he wants to go see his horses. Now, I got a question for you on this
Parade.
that goes back to our original topic.
Okay.
Is the bar that the 2024-2025 Eagles set for the other teams in this city fair?
No, because they are one of the best teams in the history of the NFL.
No, it absolutely is fair.
That's why it's an interesting question.
Because to me, the Phillies are in a sport where you don't have a salary cap.
Okay, fair.
The Eagles have to compete on an even playing field. The Phillies do not.
I'm not just talking about talent.
No, I'm saying is that right there, it's absolutely for the Phillies to be able to do what the Eagles did is absolutely 100 times easier
on the field. But think about the likability of the team. Think about all the stuff they do right in the community. Think about how they never have an off-the-field issue. Think about how everything this organization does is like the hand of Midas. It just turns everything to gold. Is it fair to expect, because it doesn't happen around the NFL?
I think the Phillies have a lot of that. They just don't have the championship.
Okay.
So I think the Phillies are there. All those things that you mentioned, other than the winning part, Phillies have all.
I think the Phillies are
community.
Like Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
Even Nick Castellanos. And I tell you, people around the organization have told me stories about Nick Castellanos that make me really like him more.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Like him more. I think he's just I think
he's brash toward the media.
I think he's just a jerk to people in our business for no reason. He does not get trashed here. He does not get abused here. He gets, in fact, pretty much praised here.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. But no, I mean, I think that I like the bar that the Eagles have set, and it shouldn't be unrealistic for the Phillies to do it because they got a lot of good guys.
So coming up next, I will tell you what the bar is. And it's words uttered by Howie Roseman. I will tell you what that bar is coming up next, even though one team is already doing it, but they're grandfathered in. There is a bar that the Eagles have set that I'll tell you about coming up next. Also, I hope you enjoyed winning the Super Bowl because it's over. Franchise tag day starts today, Johnny.
No, it doesn't. Today,
the franchise.
I didn't even know that.
The franchise tag window opens up today. So it's over. No more celebrating the Super Bowl.
What?
Our attention turns toward 2025, Johnny.
I didn't even read it tight enough that Bill Colorillo was saying this yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's today. But in all seriousness, one of you, I forget which one of you said it last week, it may not be the right move. I'll discuss more coming up next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles coaching questions. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit. The Kellen Moore poaching season continues to be open as the NFL offseason gets going for the Birds. Kellen Moore, the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints, has now interviewed 3 positional coaches from the Eagles as potential coordinators down in New Orleans. Doug Nussmeier, Christian Parker, and now Eagles running back coach Jamal Singleton has reportedly interviewed for the Saints offensive coordinator job as well. Who will be the Eagles' new OC? Well, Jeff McClain spoke to us last week about the chances it could be Eagles passing game coordinator Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
A lot to focus on there. We'll keep you updated on all the coaching news and also the franchise tag news, as you just heard Andrew Salciunas mention. In hockey, the final of the Four Nations face-off is set for Thursday night. It'll be the USA taking on Canada in a rematch. USA won the previous contest this past Saturday, 3-1. We'll talk to Pete Prisco at 9 a.m., and Amy Fadul will join us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update's also brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Vitalico.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
It is.
So here's the bar, and then we'll move on to this franchise tag thing. I want to revisit something that one of you said last week. It may have been Connor, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't listen to you.
Well, you got a 50-50 shot.
I do.
Was it smart or dumb? What was said?
I think we all agreed it was smart at the time, but maybe it would not be the right move.
Oh, okay.
So not dumb, just
So
not the right
it could be
move.
Connor.
Could be. Still 50-50.
But here's the bar that teams should set.
All right.
In this city. This city, Philadelphia. Knowing the fan base, knowing the hunger, knowing that if you build it, they will come. Right? Howie Roseman last year, no, this was actually from 2023, March of 2023. He was talking about rebuilding. Here's the quote. The word rebuild, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. We're about competing. How do you say that to your players that we're on a 3-year plan? You can't build a culture like that because how do you turn it back on? How do you tell these great players it's going to take us 2 to 3 years and then say, now we're ready? And that's kind of like a shot at the Sixers. For me, especially in our market, there is no rebuilding.
I love that.
Because it's the city of Philadelphia. Now, look, to go up against Howie Roseman, we were, a lot, not everybody, a lot of people were on board with the Sixers process. It just never seemed to have a final destination. Sam Hinkie would have kept on going if they didn't force him out, right?
Yes.
The Flyers, you know that there is a final destination, which is why they're grandfathered into this conversation. But I love that messaging from Howie. He's like, in Philadelphia, rebuild? Look, the Phillies tried rebuilding for 10 freaking years. And what got them back? Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Harper, Real Muto, Schwarber, Castellanos, Wheeler. That's what got you back.
It did.
Was paying free agents. So, yeah, you could have a great team. The Eagles are a great drafting team. We've now seen that over the last couple of years. They're also not afraid to sign Bryce Huffs and Saquon Barkleys and other franchise-changing, trading for A.J. Brown, immediately paying him. So I think that should be the bar for the other teams in this city, realizing that you can't go for a rebuild. Now, the Sixers might have to.
Well, the problem is
that was because of their own issues.
The problem is that I think what the Eagles try to do is they try to still build the right way with homegrown talent that is supplemented by strategic free agency.
Correct.
The Phillies tried to build a culture on free agency.
Well,
it's worked. Buying almost every single thing you can buy.
And it's worked.
It's worked. I mean, it worked. One year you played for a championship, you did. If it's, again, it doesn't, like, to me, this team, when you buy a bunch of talent, 90-something wins should be the bar of mediocre expectation. But when you buy a bunch of individual pieces, it doesn't there's not that continuity and there's not that cohesiveness.
I think baseball's a little bit easier to do it with. Basketball's hard. It's hard to, how people say just roll the basketball out there, let them figure it out. How are the Suns playing? You know what I mean? Like, they have all the talent in the world. Baseball, it's like, all right, if I can sign 9 players that can all mash and play defense, I don't really worry about continuity. The only continuity I worry about is pitcher to catcher and the middle infield.
I can't get over, though, when you think of it, what you're saying. The amount of times, and I said it to you before, look at our championship coaches. Nick Sirianni, Doug Peterson, Charlie Manuel, Dallas Green. I mean, like, when we win championships in this town, for the most part, it's not with the star-studded names
that coach,
that we have had Hall of Fame guys,
Doc Rivers,
come through this town and completely fail. But for some reason, it's like, but for some reason, when we bring in guys who are totally doubted upon their hiring, and Charlie Manuel was completely, he was trashed for a year and a half.
Yeah,
that they end up being the ones that are winners. And I think part of that is the relatability, the understanding the duty, understanding what it takes to put together. And I just think, like, for me, the Phillies have so much pressure on this. Go back to your original thing today. The Phillies have so much pressure on them this year.
Yeah, regardless of the Eagles.
regardless of the
Phillies have all the pressure. Now the Eagles win.
Now the Eagles win, it's even more.
There's even more pressure. You can answer that question. What did the Eagles Super Bowl do for the other teams in this city in terms of pressure? 610-632-0975. Get back to our calls and texts here in a moment. But I want to bring up something. I think Connor said it. You can correct me if I'm wrong. The idea of franchise tagging Zack Baun.
Connor
I
brought
have
it
mentioned
up.
that, yes.
And we all agreed with you. So I just saw an article on CBS this morning. They did the top franchise tag candidates for all 32 teams.
Okay.
And to let you guys know, they do have Zack Baun as the top franchise tag candidate. Here's where we were wrong.
What?
One of you said that the linebacker tag is not that it can't be that much. You know it's the second highest tag?
Are you kidding me?
Quarterback is $41 million. Linebacker is second at $27 million. And so I look at the highest paid linebackers in the NFL. Fred Warner is the highest at $19 a year.
So it's the top 5 guys average, right?
Yeah.
So you get the average of the top 5 players at your position.
So I would almost rather just sign him to a regular contract. You'll save money that way.
Isn't it true? Hasn't it been? I think I heard this on one of the Eagles shows on NBC Sports Philadelphia, and I'm sorry if I'm bogarting someone's content because I can't remember who said it. If you were a kindergartner, the last time the Eagles used the franchise tag, you are now a college freshman.
Oh yeah, they don't use it.
2012 with Deshaun
Was it
Jackson
2012?
the last time.
Then that is a real stat. So
We were seniors in high school.
if you were a kindergartner, you're done.
Yeah. Howie would rather just sign guys. And look, credit to Jeffrey Lurie for giving the signing bonuses,
Absolutely.
a little extra money up front.
That's incredible.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah, now,
2012? I remember they did it to Trotter. They did it to Trotter once.
Mm-hmm.
They did it to.
But you're going back,
No, but I'm thinking.
20 years,
I remember
yeah.
they did it to Corey Simon once.
Okay.
I don't remember any others. I remember Trotter once. I remember Corey Simon once.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So they did it to Deshaun.
they did
the
to
last
Deshaun
one.
in 2012.
I
was the
don't
last one.
remember it ever.
Jeez, the Eagles have only done it 5 times ever.
Right, so it's not a common thing. Here's the thing with Baun.
By the way, Trot, Corey Simon, L.J. Smith,
Oh my
Oh,
God!
that's a good
What
one.
Vic,
jeez.
and then Deshaun. Go ahead.
Wow.
Sorry.
So they did it to Vic too.
Yeah.
So the thing with Baun is it's a weird situation because, one, he's 28 years old, so he's got years left. It's not like he's an older veteran player that did this. He also kind of came out of nowhere, so his value is going to be very tough to determine on the open market.
With all due Zack Baun, I love you. You're not Fred Warner.
Well, is he?
He might be, but
That's the thing.
am I paying him $19 million? Fred Warner's a future
doesn't-
Hall of Famer, right?
The thing is, you don't have to ask. Are you paying him?
Yeah, you're right.
Is
I'm not.
someone else paying him?
Exactly. And if Zack Baun at 28 in this breakout role where you might say, okay, the Saints misused him, and the 1 year we've seen him in the proper position, he is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Does he reset the market on linebackers to a team that really needs help on their defense? And if that's the case, the franchise tag might save you money.
Could be.
The other thing with Zack Baun is the other side of that argument, which is we've only seen him do it 1 year. And as much as I'm confident in the player, if you're going to give a long-term deal on a guy that's only played the position for 1 year and not expect that there could be some regression next year on an all-time great season, then you might want to franchise tag and then reevaluate after a year. So I don't
So you're
going to
franchise tag him at $27 million.
I'm not.
To reevaluate.
I'm not doing. I can't. But Connor, I understand the point.
I get the
probably
point, too.
wouldn't either, but I don't think it's inherently a bad idea, depending on what his market
It's too
looks
much.
like.
It's too much money.
I don't want to franchise tag somebody
At
for
that
maybe
kind of
maybe
figure.
$9 million more than what
That's right.
he probably would just get on the market.
I could sign you for probably. I would bet Baun comes in around the 5th highest paid or 6th highest paid linebacker.
So here
that'd be
are
like
your highest
18 to
paid.
20,
so
right?
sorry, Roquan Smith is number 1 at 20. Warner's at 19 mil. Tremaine Edwards is at 18 mil. And then
he's going to be below all of those guys, I would believe.
it drops to 14 mil a year with Matt Milano.
He's going to jump in, but right as that gap's where around 16
16 and a half, 17
is where I'm guessing he's going to show up, and I would right now. I would pay that.
Well, yeah, I want to pay him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not letting
he's
him
not
walk.
leaving.
I don't.
You know, everybody says that, Connor, but it doesn't. We're assuming that he's not leaving.
We're assuming that the Eagles are also going to pay a linebacker. which
Right.
I do.
Which I still wonder what changed with your philosophy as an organization.
It worked. You were proven wrong.
Correct. So it is.
That's what changed.
It is admitting though you've made a giant. You've had a mistake in your philosophy. If you now go and do that, you've had a mistake in your philosophy.
But then Howie will respond to you saying, "What mistake? I got us to 3 Super Bowls
I understand
in 8
he
seasons."
will. I understand he will. But on that topic,
Right.
he's not right. On not paying linebackers, he's proven his own point incorrect.
I got you. I was kidding. We could still celebrate the Super Bowl, by the way.
Good. We're going to celebrate it all summer.
Coming up next, CBS did a breakdown of the past 25 Super Bowl champions, and they ranked the top 25, the last 25 Super Bowl champions.
Okay.
Find out where the Eagles ranked among them all next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli, Bill Colarulo, and Ray Dunn. They have a lot to say about Philadelphia sports.
The Fanatic on a Championship Tuesday, Johnny. Championship Tuesday. Now, speaking of champion,
Love that.
the CBS team, or sorry, just one person apparently, Brian DiArdo.
I do not know who Brian DiArdo is.
So Brian DiArdo ranked the last 25 Super Bowl champions.
Okay.
All right. So at number 25, he has the 2001 Patriots. I'm not going to go through all 25.
I thought you were.
I
thought you were. I was going to check out.
I'm just doing, for context. Now, this one's fascinating.
The 2001 Patriots were one of the most unlikely champions ever.
At 24, he has the 2000 Ravens, which is considered one of the best defenses in the history of the NFL.
One of the worst offenses. Do you remember? But you see, you were
Trent Dilfer was the quarterback.
So
Jamal
young.
Lewis.
You're so young.
I know the team.
But that team offensively was really.
I get it, but when you have people say the 85 Bears and the 2000 Ravens,
correct?
Like if you have one of the best defenses, I'm not saying put him at number 1, but 24.
I get you.
So I will tell you. Let me try to find where the Super Bowl 52 is.
Super Bowl 52 should show up nowhere.
Maybe like 16th.
Yeah, I was going to say nowhere in the top 15.
Well, you would be incorrect.
Wow.
He has him at 11.
Okay, that's crazy.
So then this team has to be top 3.
Yes.
How about number 1?
Let's go. I told you
What?
this team.
What?
So here's what he wrote about him. It's hard to match the 2024 Eagles resume. Their 18 wins are tied for the most in NFL history and most by any Super Bowl champion this century. The Eagles capped off their historic season with a decisive win over a team that was on the precipice of history.
Yes.
No other Super Bowl winning team this century had a top 10 quarterback, 2 top 20 receivers, a 2,000-yard rusher, a big, powerful offensive line, and a second-ranked scoring defense that wreaked havoc on quarterbacks without having to blitz. That's why they're number 1.
That's incredible. I mean,
how awesome is that?
That's incredible. Because remember, the 18-0 Patriots did not win.
Yeah.
No, they did not.
They somehow lost to Gomer Pyle and the Giants. I mean, honestly, it's like I still can't believe it. I was in attendance, and I still can't believe that ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's like 2 and 3? Is it like the 2013 Seahawks?
Number 2 was the 2019 Chiefs, and they beat the Niners 31-20.
Wow, and they were losing that game.
Well, again, it's the whole team.
No, but I mean,
right?
I understand.
Also the whole season.
Well, I didn't look at the Chiefs then as the wow.
So he says not only did they have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, don't forget they had a prime Tyreek Hill.
They did.
Chiefs defense was 7th in the NFL in points allowed, 5th in interceptions, and 8th in sacks.
Okay.
So top 10 in a lot of defensive statistical categories. And then, of course, their offense was very, very good that year.
Sure.
And then the 2016 Patriots, the comeback,
28-3.
They're at number 3.
Which was incredible.
They went 14-2 that year, so
and they were incredible.
And overall 17-2 at the playoffs. And by the way, your Seahawks that you mentioned, they're number 4.
So I would have put Seahawks ahead of that Patriots team.
Yeah, I agree.
The Seahawks would have been that team that was that the year they got the lucky win over the Packers?
Oh, dude, I don't remember.
There was one year where they, at home,
the Seahawks?
Had the incredible comeback.
Like the overtime
the incredible comeback over the Packers where they looked like they were going to lose.
It was the onside kick. Thank you,
was it that year, though?
I believe so. Yeah, the Packers player just
because they went to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. So it was an NFC title game against the Packers, and that was the year they lost.
Oh, okay.
That was the year they lost to the Pats.
But dude, I don't think I'm going to say this. I firmly believe this is not just Philadelphia in me. I don't think there is a football team in the history of the planet that has ever stepped on a field that would beat the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think there is. I don't think they exist.
Could be. I mean,
well, if you are arguing, Connor, the embodiment of their entire season, their entire roster and everything like that, and not just picking individual moments, yeah, I could argue that you'd be right. I think I'd argue on your side.
Where do you stop this team? Where is their weakness? Where do you look at another complete team?
Once somebody trots out the passing offense, they go, oh, yeah, let's throw against you, and we'll win.
And the thing is, I still can't get over, and I would encourage everybody, and I guarantee you somebody has probably put it up on YouTube, the 15-minute game of the Super Bowl and some of the all-22 stuff. I don't know what Spags...
He had a rough day.
Was thinking.
Well, he sold out to stop the run.
Yeah, but he thought that, wait a minute, one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time in the NFL, most successful, he believed that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith left one-on-one probably 60-70% of the time, one of them was not good enough to beat you?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I'll never understand it. And
it showed early. They had no shot, dude.
Like, I can't believe that was the plan.
It's a better option than Saquon one-on-one,
Yeah,
Saquon one-on-two. Like, you kind of had to do it. But
this goes to Connor's point about naming the team that beats this team. The Chiefs didn't even stand a chance.
I mean, the
game was over.
An ass whooping
at halftime.
It was 24-0 at half, and it was. I mean, at 17-0, it felt sort of over. 24-0 after the Zack Baun interception.
Yeah,
and then the thing. It was crazy.
Take away a Phantom OPI, it's 47. Take away garbage time, it's 47-6. Like
true.
That was an ass whooping.
By the way, just for context, the two teams that beat the Eagles, the 2022 Chiefs are ranked 18th on this list. And then the 2004 Patriots, they're pretty high.
Okay.
They're 7th.
So they lost. So the Eagles lost to the 18th best team
of the last 25 Super Bowl champions. Yes, that's what he said.
I'm still very frustrated by that loss.
Yeah.
It's just you talk about the loss losing to the Diamondbacks. I'm going to look at it and go, boof. I mean, I'm looking at it saying, man, it should be something that's a big one to me. Losing that Super Bowl to me is a bigger egregious thing to me than.
But I can go to bed at night saying at least it was to Mahomes and Andy Reid, whereas the Diamondbacks, who'd you freaking lose to?
Gosh, it's
Corbin
terrible.
Carroll.
God, it's so terrible.
Really?
Brandon Pfaadt.
That's who they freaking lost to. All right, let's check the text line there for a second, Connor. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's my bad. We'll check it coming up next. So, chime in. What did the Eagles Super Bowl do for the other teams in this city? 610-632-0975. And let's just react to the fact that some guy puts together a list of the last 25 Super Bowl champions, and he ranked them in order. And he has the 2024 Eagles as number 1.
That's
and his
crazy.
reasoning behind it, I understand. Number 1. It's unbelievable. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Tuesday. Don't forget today's headlines with Connor Thomas coming your way at 8 o'clock. Amy Fadul today on this Tuesday with us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Coaching decisions to make. I'm Connor Thomas, and Kellen Moore is continuing to look at Eagles assistant coaches for his coordinator jobs. Christian Parker is interviewed for his DC job. Doug Nussmeier interviewed for the offensive coordinator job. And now Eagles running backs coach Jamal Singleton is reportedly interviewed for the Saints offensive coordinator job as well. So not only are the Eagles down in OC, but the OC that left is trying to take some of the positional coaches. So who will be the Eagles' new offensive coordinator? That's the one position that is open right now. Jeff McClain spoke to us last week about the chances it will be Eagles passing game coordinator Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
He's definitely a candidate, but he's not the only one, so we'll keep you updated on the coaching news surrounding the Birds, who's leaving and who's coming in. In hockey, the final of the Four Nations face-off is set for Thursday night. It's going to be Team USA taking on Canada in a rematch from the Saturday. USA won the previous contest 3-1. We'll talk to Pete Prisco coming up at 9 a.m. Amy Fadul for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bill Colarulo.
Once again, Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes on the biggest
Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right, we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll check our text line calls here in a second. But I just saw an article just now from Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk.
Okay.
Netflix, remember how they had the Christmas Day game, right? Was the Chiefs game on Netflix?
Yeah, they did, because Doc was worried about being able to see football.
Right.
Because to get him to log on and do all that stuff's a college course.
Get ready, Doc.
Uh-oh.
Because
what is it?
Netflix, according to Mike Florio, wants to try to pilfer one of the packages from either CBS or Fox.
What?
By the end of the decade.
CBS or Fox? No. I don't think that they... Well, who knows? I guess who knows, right? I mean, I guess it could happen.
So the current broadcast deals run through 2033 with both CBS and Fox.
All right.
The league has the right to pull the plug on the deals 4 years early and likely will. It's like the opt-outs. They're going to try to make more money because the NFL just continues to make more and more money year in and year out. So by the end of this decade, if the NFL pulls out of their deals with both CBS or Fox or one or the other, Netflix doesn't want like Sunday Night Football.
No, they want
a 1 o'clock game and a 4 o'clock game on their streaming service.
I will tell you that to me, watching the games on Netflix, it's sort of like watching baseball on Apple TV. Baseball on Apple TV is the most visually beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And it is the best that I've seen.
I've always hated the play-by-play.
See, now I love, though, with the Apple TV
radio feed,
that you can just grab the local radio feed for whoever you want or a national radio feed on some of the games and be able to watch it that way.
Yeah.
I think it's next level. If Netflix offered the same thing, think of it this way. People here in Philadelphia, they love Merrill Reese. And a lot of them hate watching, oh, gosh, here's Joe Buck. Or here's, we don't like Joe Buck. We don't like whoever it is.
Yeah.
And you were able to get the local feed up there. And it was as visually pleasing. I think Netflix did a really, really nice job. I think that the visualization of the first game of the year on Amazon was beautiful.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Really nice job.
They just need Al to care a little bit more.
Yeah, but listen.
Al's different.
It's an open market, and that's how things should be. If the product can be improved by another company, another broadcast company, then you should allow them to have it. If they outbid, they outbid. If it's a good product, I don't care where we have to go to find it.
And I'm sure...
I don't either.
I'm sure if the Eagles are playing a game that's on Netflix, they'll still air it on Channel 10.
No, they would have a local
whatever.
Local market. But the thing was, here's the problem. You've got it then, you can't flip. The vast majority of us cannot flip during games.
Right.
So unless you have multiple screens up.
Close out of your service, go on to the next one.
Now, every time I say this, someone goes, you got to go buy an Apple TV. And I saw some of the prices of the Apple TVs, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. I'm hoping the technology comes to all the other TV makers, and we can have it where, just like a computer, I've got tabs up.
Right.
Netflix is up, and I can bounce around that way.
And look, the NFL can do this. I remember when MLS went strictly Apple, I thought that was a really stupid decision on their part.
Attention to the sport has gone down.
Ever since, yeah. Whereas the NFL, they can literally say, hey, we're only airing in bars. We're no longer airing in your local house.
Right.
And people will flood to the bars to go watch the NFL. The MLS made a major mistake by doing that a couple of years ago because you're trying to grow the sport, and now you just limited.
I mean, why in the world would you take a niche sport?
Yeah.
And then say we're not going to give you easy access.
Well, I was worried about hockey. They were going to do that with Paramount, and then they stopped.
They stopped,
and now you still have it on local and ESPN. And
the minute that TNT got involved in hockey,
it's gotten better.
All of a sudden, but now all of a sudden ESPN ups their game.
Yeah,
and TNT now it's gotten hockey's a lot better coverage.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because there's competition.
All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group station, broadcasting from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. We'll check our text line here momentarily. Again, today's topic, what did the Eagles' Super Bowl victory do for the other teams in this city? Does it add to the pressure of some of the teams? Do you not care as much about the other teams? And I'm talking about the Sixers. With the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, are people just like, they can do whatever they want? I do believe it increases for the Phillies, but I think that increase of pressure was there regardless of what the result would have been for the Eagles. We'll continue that discussion coming up, but it's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
What do we got, Connor?
Well, we have a sickness to talk about. And
sickness.
A sickness.
Yes.
Bryce Harper's under the weather. He has some form of food poisoning or stomach issue or whatever. And this should come of no surprise to anybody who followed Bryce Harper on social media this offseason where he's talking about damn raw milk in his latte.
Using raw milk, which me and my family like a lot. I use Maple Hill, grass-fed, whole milk. Love this.
What?
Bryce, stop drinking the raw milk, dude.
Why is he drinking raw
you didn't know
milk?
this? Oh, you didn't know this? Oh, yeah, he does.
No, I didn't watch any of this stuff.
He has raw milk at his house.
Why is he doing that?
Because people ignore science sometimes.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. But he has children.
Yeah,
they like the raw milk.
They like the raw milk.
No, you don't do that.
Yeah, look, I understand. I'm not trying to go down any rabbit holes here. People have their beliefs that they want to stick to. That is been proven over a century.
It is. It can absolutely salmonella. I'm trying to think.
Pasteurization was a good thing for the world.
Salmonella, Listeria, E. coli.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all the reasons that we have pasteurized milk.
Yeah.
Because of those are top 3 right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, and you're feeding children that?
Now, as the show expert on stuff that you can eat that's probably not the best for you, or stuff that you leave out, or stuff that may be raw in some
cases. That's you.
You can get away with it occasionally, but let's leave that for the off season. Like now that we're in spring training, how about we go with just like the regular 2%?
It's Russian
price?
roulette.
Now
you're playing Russian roulette.
He may have always been drinking raw milk. We don't know.
I don't believe it.
The TikTok brought that to light. Now, here's the thing. I believe Schwarber is also ill, or somebody is also ill.
Yeah, it could be completely unrelated.
It might not have anything to do with the raw milk, but PSA, raw milk is not good for you.
No, it's not. And this isn't a battle of science.
No.
This is common sense.
Yeah.
By the way, Kyle Schwarber. How good does Kyle Schwarber look?
Dude, and
he came in last year.
Yeah.
He came in last year in better shape. He's in better shape this year. He looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and remember random. Remember when Scott Kingery came in 20 pounds with extra muscle? That wasn't his game. Kyle Schwarber's getting in better shape to just continue to hit missiles. He could hit 50 again.
Yeah. It's all the raw milk he's been drinking this offseason.
No.
Cousin Matt sends me a picture from his fridge.
Saying, dude. Cousin Matt.
What,
be careful.
He has the raw milk?
Raw cow milk.
Yeah, just be careful.
Listen, man. To each their own. Just understand the risks.
Just be
now
careful.
It says
We're moving
for
on.
cats and dogs, by the way.
Hey, I'm a dog.
Right on the label, it says
turn your mic
for
off.
cats and dogs.
It's my segment. You turn your mic off. We're going to talk about something that's coming up next because we're trying to fill the void of football. I want to know your guys' thoughts. When do you turn your attention to March Madness? The tourney is right around the corner. Do you start to zone in on college basketball at all?
No, I'm sorry. I watch my Temple Owls a lot.
I watch the Owls. It records every single game on my YouTube TV. It absolutely does it.
Here's what I do. This is totally me, right? I like to put on a random college basketball game when I'm closing my eyes to fall asleep. And so maybe I'll watch 5 minutes, but that's it.
I'll watch championship week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Championship week, I will enjoy watching, even if I tune in and it's 8 minutes to go and it's the Patriot League final and one of those teams is going to the NCAA tournament, I'll stick on it and watch it to the end.
Look, college basketball has lost its luster. And I'm not even saying from 40 years ago when guys played all 4 years at school. I'm saying from 20 years ago, college basketball has lost its luster. And I'll watch the tournament. Can't wait for it, right? We're done at 10 o'clock. We're done before games. So it's a lot of fun to be able to sit down and watch games all day. But, I'm not going to start watching Houston games in February.
So you're a fashionably late guy, and that's totally fine.
Absolutely.
But
I'm a casual college basketball
Nothing
fan.
wrong with that.
But you and I will both, on the Thursday and Friday of the tournament, we'll be right there for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And enjoying it, but not putting in the time.
Got you. Was just curious.
You know me. I like watching Kings Pacers. I'd rather watch an
weird.
NBA product when the Sixers aren't playing than at college basketball. Why is that weird? I'd rather watch the Sixers the team that I care about more is the Sixers. They're going to play the Kings one day. Why should I care about Middle Tennessee State?
Temple might play Middle Tennessee State if Temple ever makes the tournament. Anyway, we'll round out with this replay. You set yourself up for that one.
What does the Eagles Super Bowl do for the rest of the teams in this city? Does it increase the pressure, or are they their own entity that it shouldn't even matter what one team is doing compared to what the other teams are doing?
So I think it actually lowers the pressure a little bit for the other teams in this city. And my example of this would be, like, I work 2 jobs. If my one job was to give me a big-time holiday bonus, then I would probably be less likely to then ask for more money in my other job, because ultimately I'm getting that money from somewhere else. When the Eagles give me success, I'm less likely to demand success from other teams because that void in my fandom has already been filled. That might not
that's
be,
you.
Yeah, I know that's me. That's my individual.
I'm get the taste. You want the whole steak. That's me. That's why I want dynasties. That's why I want more championships. That's I want more.
I think that'll be. But that is on brand for you.
Yeah,
it's on brand for you. I don't think it's on brand for most.
I'm a greedy bitch, man.
You are.
Give me
we
more.
say that about you a lot.
I'm greedy. Yeah.
I want to see him win more, but like I'm not going to lie to you and say like I now need to see the Phillies win the World Series more because the Eagles won one. If anything, I'm like more comfortable with a season that doesn't end in a championship because we just got one.
Oh my gosh.
I won't.
This Phillies team?
Yeah, dude. If
I want him to win.
Dude, no.
Be ready, man.
This Phillies team doesn't win or doesn't get further than they've been the last year or two.
Look, they lose to the Dodgers in the NLCS.
That's fine. They lose to the Dodgers. Right, exactly. Nothing. You tell me they go out in the first round with a whimper?
But dude, if the Eagles had lost to the Chiefs and we hadn't gotten that Super Bowl, I would be saying the Phillies damn well better give us something to cheer about this year or we're going to lose our minds. Now we have something to carry us through even if they don't.
See, again, our topic, and we'll get more into this coming up next, is, what does the Eagles Super Bowl do for the other teams? I look at them as their own separate entity.
Yes.
It doesn't, honestly, the Eagles winning doesn't do anything for the other teams for me. The Phillies have all-time pressure right now. The Sixers have a lot of pressure if apathy is not set in yet, and the Flyers are rebuilding. The Eagles winning the Super Bowl does nothing for the Flyers for me, right?
Nothing.
That's me. But you're the opposite, where you're like,
See, it's the fat and happy syndrome.
No, I don't like that.
I worry about succumbing to.
Look, I was once a fat kid.
Chubby Chunas.
I don't want to get fat ever again. All right, coming up next, we'll check the text line. Also, just a reminder of how good it is to have Jalen Hurts as your quarterback. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Vitalico, and Silvana Kelleher. The best show ever. Smart, intelligent conversation you need to hear. Listen weekdays 2 to 6 p.m. Philadelphia's source for breaking sports news. 97.5 The Fanatic at 97.5thefanatic.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response.
It's 8:11 here on this Championship Tuesday of Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, so coming up at 8:25, Fox did their top 100 free agents. And so we'll see maybe some players that the Eagles could key in on, or, of course, the Eagles players that are entering free agency, where do they rank on this list? But I just want to remind you that it's really good to have Jalen Hurts.
It's really good.
Because within their top 100 list, they made their top 10 free agent quarterbacks that are available.
Okay.
So obviously, if you need a quarterback, you're most likely drafting, and you maybe have a bridge guy.
All right. Yeah.
Here are the top 10 available quarterbacks via free agency. Number 10, Trey Lance.
Wow.
He couldn't play over Cooper Rush.
No.
With the Dallas Cowboys.
They didn't even give him much of a shot either.
He stinks.
It's terrible.
He wasn't good coming out of college. He wasn't good in the NFL. I still can't believe the 49ers traded all those assets to get him.
Those North Dakota State guys,
Horrible,
man.
Yeah. Flacco, number 9.
Oh, my gosh.
40-year-old Joe Flacco comes in at number 9. Jameis Winston, future media member, comes in at number 8.
Which, by the way, I really warmed to his content.
Oh, he's good. Oh, dude, I forgot to tell you. When I was when we were in New Orleans, I was going for my runs after the show. I ran by him when he was riding the bike.
When he was doing the bike? I think that was funny as hell. I was very impressed.
He comes in at number 8.
Okay.
Mac Jones comes in at number 7.
Oh, my gosh.
Cooper Rush comes in at number 6.
Oh, my gosh.
Now we've reached our top.
Oh, no.
Now we've reached our top 5.
Oh, no, and I know one of them's on there that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Daniel Jones is at number 5.
Now, that I would find Daniel Jones the most intriguing name I've heard.
Justin Fields is at number 4.
Okay, now I put ahead of him.
Aaron Rodgers is at number 3.
Never.
Russ is at number 2.
I'd put Russ behind Daniel Jones and Justin Fields.
Oh, because he's 85 years old. Yeah.
He had noodle arm in that Eagle game.
And lastly, Sam Darnold at number 1. Now, I believe that Sam Darnold struck midnight. And
Lightning in a bottle.
You saw that in the playoff game where he had no shot against the Rams.
Okay,
but
then Rodgers struck 2 a.m. Joe Flacco struck 4.
Yeah.
And
See,
some of
that's
these guys
the hard-
haven't made it to 7 p.m.
That's the hard part, Connor, is that idea of, well, I'm telling you, I wouldn't touch the Aaron Rodgers thing for $1 million.
No.
I don't know what.
Who's going to be the sucker to do
You know,
it?
I think
Tennessee.
Now, you see, I think now I have a feeling it might end
Pittsburgh?
up. Yes, you took it right out of my mouth. I think that.
They can't do that again.
Yes. When you start feeling that anxiousness, when you start feeling that, oh my gosh, we just can't get this thing figured out, I absolutely could see the Steelers going, yeah, you know what? We have the perfect atmosphere here. We have the perfect, coaching staff, environment. Well, this man is not about team. He's not about team. He will come there, and he will be about himself, and he will be about his nonsense, and he will be about running for vice president.
Yeah.
He will be about lecturing everybody on what you need to do in your personal life. Get him out of there. Don't dare let him touch your franchise.
Listen, Rodgers has the perfect thing for anxiousness.
Yeah,
he does.
Seriously.
His magic mushrooms.
Bottom line is,
my God,
good to have Jalen Hurts as the franchise quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles.
That is the most compelling case ever.
These are the quarterbacks that are available.
That's a bad year.
Yeah.
That's a bad year for openings.
Yep. All right, let's go to the people. Let's go to our man, Jeff in Camden. Jeff, thanks for holding on, man. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's happening?
Hi, Jeff.
So, what's going on, man? So, look, congratulations, Eagles Nation. That was a amazing performance. I kind of thought that it would go that way, them rolling over them and everything. And it was beautiful to watch, a little bit of redemption.
You thought they would beat them up the way they did? I thought they were going to win. John thought that they were going to win. Connor thought they were going to win, but they beat them up.
I never could have seen that. No.
Just wasn't enough time to prepare for what the Eagles had cooking coming up, Just wasn't enough time as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But, moving on, basketball, what do you think needs to happen with these Sixers to right this ship to compete at least this year.
Dude, they're done. They're done. Like this year, Jeff. I'm sorry. It pains me to say it's over. The season is over.
They're done.
And after this season, you have to start thinking about what's next more so than you ever have. And thanks for the call, Jeff. I just saw. It's funny that he brings up chances. Crossing Broad put out an article yesterday, but I just saw it this morning. Do you know what their betting odds are to make the playoffs?
Who?
The Sixers.
Sixers.
To make the playoffs.
Plus 1,500.
Plus 450.
No. Yeah. Plus 245. I mean, they're right outside the play-in tournament.
Okay.
Playing counts, yeah.
See, that they count playing. I don't. Play-in tournament is not in the playoffs to me.
For betting odds, though.
For betting odds, it is. That's why I didn't say that.
But still, plus 245.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no. Hold on a second. No. It's to actually make the playoffs. They're minus 475 to qualify for a play-in round.
Oh, my gosh.
Interesting.
Plus 245 on FanDuel to make the playoffs. But still, that's half the league makes the playoffs. That's bad that you're plus money with Joel Embiid and Paul George and Tyrese
More than half
Maxey.
the league makes the playoffs. That's true. If you're counting that stupid play-in tournament, where it's like, we're going to give you an extra chance.
Well, that's what Vegas is literally telling you. It's more likely that they don't make the freaking playoffs.
They're a game. See, I didn't think of it as making the playoffs meant making the play-in tournament, which the play-in tournament is, by definition, is play-in. What are you playing into?
To get into
You're
the
playing
playoffs,
into the playoffs.
No. This is to make the playoffs.
That's
right.
crazy.
No, you were
to
right
me.
originally.
Yeah,
Tom.
you were right originally.
That's wild to
But
me.
it wasn't plus 1,500. It's plus 245. But still, I mean, it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
And
more importantly, you want to fall behind the Brooklyn Nets. You do not want this play-in tournament, no matter how much the brass will try to convince you that you do.
First step was losing to them right before the All-Star break.
And I believe I believe I heard Daryl Morey talk about the fact as well. If we get in, then anything can happen. Stop with that.
Yeah, and then they're going to say we didn't have enough time to play with one another because they were hurt because you signed an off-injured player to try to be the insurance policy of your off-injured player.
Wow.
All right, coming up next, I told you.
Cleansing breath.
Top 10 quarterbacks available. How about the top 100 available free agents? How many Eagles are within the top 100 and where do they rank? We'll go through that with you coming up next. We'll also get your text messages and calls on today's topic. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Updates on the coaching staff. I'm Connor Thomas, and the New Orleans Saints have now become the enemies. And that's with Kellen Moore looking for new coordinators for his new team. Kellen Moore now the head coach of the Saints. And of course, he's the previous offensive coordinator of the Eagles. Not that we were exactly tight with the Saints to begin with, but when they start coming after your assistant coaches as well, that becomes a problem. So Doug Nussmeier, the Eagles quarterbacks coach, is interviewed for the Saints offensive coordinator position. Christian Parker, the Eagles defensive backs coach, has interviewed for their DC job. And now running backs coach Jamal Singleton has reportedly interviewed for the OC job as well down in New Orleans. So Kellen Moore looking to take advantage of bringing some assistants that were under him with the Eagles to New Orleans. This would change a lot of things with the Eagles offseason as far as who they have to hire, but we know at least they're definitely going to have to bring in a new OC. So Jeff McClain spoke to us last week about the chances that it could be Eagles passing game coordinator Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
We'll see what the coaching carousel has for the Birds this offseason. In hockey, the final of the Four Nations face-off is set for Thursday night. It'll be the USA taking on Canada in a rematch. USA won the previous contest this past Saturday, 3-1. Pete Prisco will join us at 9 a.m. Amy Fadula for the entire 9 o'clock hour. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can still hear all your favorite Fanatic shows no matter where you go.
Salciunas, Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right, we're going to check the top 100 free agents in the NFL, according to Fox. Happy no longer celebrating the Super Bowl day. It is franchise tag day. That opens up today until March 4th. You have until March 4th, but it officially opens up today. Now we got 100 free agent lists.
It was brought up, too, that question one of our listeners DM'd and said, if you franchise tag somebody and then work out a contract with him, can you franchise tag someone else? Yes, you can.
Okay.
So up until that date. So if you decide to franchise tag somebody, you are sort of giving yourself like an exclusive. You've made an agreement.
Yeah.
You're going to pay them. But if you work out a long-term deal with them, it's a placeholder. It's a placeholder.
Right.
You agree, but you do it going into it, and then it can be removed and put onto another player.
And like we said, the Zack Baun one, it makes more sense to just pay him because this franchise tag for linebackers is $27 million, which is the second highest franchise tag total among all position groups in the NFL. It would be better just to pay him the annual
Yes,
salary.
the reason for that is because linebackers are now roped in with edge rushers. We got a text from someone. Great point.
That's a good point.
So like Hassan Reddick's a linebacker.
Okay,
technically.
fair.
Yeah, he'll have a big market for him. March 10th, by the way, for those asking, too, we had some people asking. March 10th, Monday, March 10th, is the legal tampering period. And then so that'll be good because last year
It's so stupid.
I was in Punta Cana.
You were.
When I found out that, do you know anybody named Saquon Barkley? The Eagles got Saquon Barkley. Yeah. This year it's the week after, so March 10th.
That's good work by you.
Monday, March the 10th.
All right, what do we have on the text line before we start going through this list? I just say, we've gone away from the text for a little bit. What are the people saying?
Well, let's go back to it. So a lot of people wanted to check in when we did that top Super Bowl winning teams list, the top 25.
Believe that.
Yeah, in case people are just tuning in, a guy on CBS did his the last 25 Super Bowls, he ranked them, the winners, and he has the Eagles as the number one team over the last 25 years.
That's
amazing.
incredible.
So Robert in Lambertville checks in, says Connor is actually right, and then in parentheses he puts holy bleep, which that doesn't feel necessary, Rob, but all right.
A little aggressive.
He says the only people that could beat this Eagles team is themselves. Spags looks so defeated and confused on the Devontae Smith touchdown. This team was amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
think
they were amazing.
I think, too, that the Eagles have done so much of making teams bleed out by running the ball and burning clock. When they got the ball back there on that fourth down and they took over, I fully expected them to run clock. I did not expect them to take the dagger shot.
Sirianni wanted it.
And I applaud them for doing it, but I would be the most boring football coach. Because I would have said, dude, we can take another 3 minutes off the clock here. We're blowing this team out.
Well, remember, Sirianni said, I won't apologize for being a boring football team. He did say that earlier in the year, and then all of a sudden he said on Super Bowl Sunday, you know what? Let's not be boring anymore.
I think they caught Spags with his pants down.
I think they did, too. I think it was a great game plan by the Eagles and not a great game plan by Spags. All right, we'll go through this. Your top 100 free agents that are available. You want to go 100 to 1?
No.
Yeah, let's do it.
Coming in at number 100, Calais Campbell. Remember how we were saying the Eagles needed him?
Former Falcon?
Remember the Eagles? Remember was he the Dolphin that they blocked?
Yes.
Yeah, we were like, oh, come on, man. Is that because of Vic Fangio?
They thought he was going to be. They thought the Falcons fans thought they were getting him for a playoff run.
Yeah.
Nah, it didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Congratulations, Kenny G made the list. He's at number 94.
Wow. Okay.
Kenneth Gainwell ahead of that Cooper
By the
Rush.
Way, we all wish Kenneth Gainwell nothing but the best, correct?
Yeah, man. Go get paid.
No, screw that. Get paid here. I want him back.
You drafted a fourth-round running back.
I want him back.
Yeah, I can't.
Special teams, baby.
There's money that's got to go.
You got a lot of guys that you have to pay. Kenneth Gainwell will not be one of those
I will
free
wish
up
him
players.
No,
I'm
what I
thinking
would
of.
tell you is you are freeing up $9.2 million when you if you choose to part ways with Slay and you're parting ways with Bradbury. You're going to give yourself $9.2 million there that you have extra to be able to maneuver what you got to do. But you got to sign people.
Question is, what do you do? Topic for another day. If Slay is gone, what do you do?
Cooper goes outside.
Is he going outside?
That's what you drafted him for.
All right.
That's what you drafted him for,
He was
right?
so good last year.
Yeah, but you drafted him to do that. You got to. I would say you got to give him that chance.
It means Avonte Maddox another year. You excited for that?
Oh, Avonte Maddox is gone.
Not necessarily.
Avonte Maddox is gone.
Coming in.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying, not him.
Yeah.
Coming in at Mekhi Becton's on. I'm getting close to him. He's in the 20s. Mekhi Becton's at 27.
Now, don't want to see him go.
I saw he put out a tweet yesterday and saying I miss my guys because he had the time of his life.
He did,
and I'm so happy for him. I've told you, that was the video of him celebrating was the one that was the biggest tearjerker for me. I saw a real Mama Eagle responding then saying, then just re-sign here. Now look, go get the money, Mekhi.
Mekhi, whatever you got to do, but
if you did come back here,
I don't believe the door's closed on that one.
Look,
I really don't.
If you want to keep this offensive line intact,
I don't think the door is absolutely closed on that.
So he's at 27. In case you're wondering, Hassan Reddick's at number 20 on this list. And then you get to number 11, Milton Williams. That's actually an amazing story too. I like Milton Williams a lot. 11th.
He's the one
best free agent.
He's the one that I would let walk.
No, you wouldn't let walk.
No, he's the one that I would let walk.
I thought Josh Sweat was the guy you would let walk.
No, because I'm looking more at I looked more yesterday, Nerd Boy.
Oh,
spent a lot of time yesterday looking at the draft stuff, and Connor had brought up yesterday. I'm looking ahead at the draft stuff. I was looking at our lads and some other spots. Dude, there's a lot of defensive tackle talent. And you can get a defensive tackle in the second round. They're projecting out 60, 70 deep. You're going to get quality guys.
You also need to start getting edge rushers, too.
You do.
You have Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith.
Right.
Unless you're counting Bryce Huff, which,
right.
Sorry. I'm not really doing that right now.
Can we count Myles Garrett?
No.
Josh Sweat, by the way, comes in at number 9 on this list. And Zack Baun, the 5th best free agent in the NFL, behind number 1 T. Higgins, who is Shefty's already reporting the Bengals will franchise tag him. Trey Smith with the Chiefs. I can't imagine they let him walk.
I don't think they'll let him walk.
Sam Darnold is 3, and Chris Godwin is at 4. Wide receiver for the Bucs. Obviously, he was hurt last year. If you're the Bucs, you're probably going to try to keep him because Mike Evans is toward the end of his career. Not done yet.
No, but he's towards the end.
Toward the end of his career.
I look at it, and when we get into it, and I'm going to trust DeCecco's eyes.
Absolutely.
And insights on this big time. But the defensive tackle position, it's where you got to get cheaper. You got to get cheaper, and that is one where there are plenty of opportunities to do so in this draft.
Yeah.
That's where it's got to be. But Lane Johnson, I'm just going to put it out there. Lane Johnson's replacement, number 1 priority to me. And I believe that other teams, from what I'm reading, are going to be heavily shopping defense. So that means offensive linemen will slide. Howie can maneuver things.
He could, yeah.
You got to get Lane Johnson's replacement.
And look how well it worked for you with Cam Jurgens.
Get him in Stoutland University.
Years in advance.
And I would ask Lane to be part of hey, what do you see in tape?
And he would.
Would you help? And he would. Absolutely would.
He absolutely would. All right, let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Rick in Easton. What up, Rick?
Great topic, gentlemen, about this Eagles victory. Who does it put pressure on? I think the only team that puts pressure on right now is the Phillies because they're so close with top three pitching staff, starting and bullpen. I do believe they have that. That's a nucleus. That's your offense and defensive line. They have to finally realize, yes, they win games with Schwarber. They don't win championships. They need to put Schwarber in the 4th slot because he protects so many people in the lineup. You got to go with Turner. You got to go with Harper because Ohtani and Judge do not hit third anymore. The number 3 hitter in the lineup is not your best hitter anymore. They want to get him up more frequently. That's what the analytics say. You got to go with Bohm until he falls on his face. He hit 280. He was an RBI guy and a doubles guy. You got to go Schwarber, Castellanos, and Stott. I don't know what you're going to do in the last 3, and I think Realmuto is an offensive liability. I just think
he's a declining asset for like 3 seasons in a row.
Yes. And I think Marshawn needs to turn the corner. And I think he needs to play more. I know what Realmuto gives you defensively, but that ship sails in the postseason. And these better teams that make the playoffs, guys, they know how to pitch around Schwarber to knock them off the playoff hump. And by the way, I want to ask you gentlemen something. Is Citizens Bank Park really, I mean really, when the chips are down, a home field advantage?
No.
Yes, we beat St. Louis. Yes, we beat the Padres. Yes, we beat the Braves. But we lost to Houston up 2-1. I didn't think we could beat them anyway. We did lose to the Diamondbacks up 4-2, 3-2, and then we fell on our faces against the Mets. That ballpark is not a home field advantage when the chips are really down.
It doesn't win you
Thanks for the
games.
call, Rick.
Thanks, guys.
It's a great advantage, but, I mean, it's an advantage just in the energy and the positivity.
Yeah, it's a home field advantage, but it has not been enough, and this team's deficiencies are the main issue.
Correct. We brought about it this morning. The third place in the lineup, and it's data from now, from 7 years running. It's not where you want your best hitter. It's not. That's old school mentality.
I disagree with the data, though.
Me too.
It's too big data to disagree with. It's 7 years of data.
Yeah, but
it's too
but
much.
There's reasoning behind it.
There is a reason. We'll give them the number.
All right, we'll do that coming up next. Also, speaking of coming up next, at 9 o'clock, not only will Amy be with us for the entire hour, Pete Prisco will be joining us.
He's looking forward to it.
Yesterday, we played a clip from Pete Prisco where he ranked quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts verse. And he picked a lot of quarterbacks over Jalen Hurts. We'll play that for you again coming up next. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Sixers win. Play that song.
The Philadelphia Flyers.
Rebounded press, backhand shot, they score!
The games are here. Philadelphia.
Pete Prisco joins us coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll play you the audio again here momentarily. But give this baseball stat that I refute. The numbers are the numbers.
Okay, the numbers are the numbers, but the numbers
I
are
refute them.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
The batting order, the 3 spot in the lineup, 7 years of data. The 3 spot in the lineup is going to come up with no one on base and 2 outs. More than anyone in the lineup. More than any spot in the lineup. And it is double any other spot except 6th.
Yeah. And those make sense to me.
Okay, explain it. Why
because the 3-hole hitter bats in the first inning every single game. And if the first 2 guys get out, then you have nobody on base. Yeah. And then the 6-hole hitter, if 1, 2, 3 goes down the order, and then 4 and 5 go down, then 6 is up to bat with nobody on 2 outs.
But it's double.
Yeah.
It's double,
because
which
it
means
happens more often.
You don't want your best hitter hitting there, so you're giving away one of your opportunities in the game to have your best hitter have the best opportunity to do something for you.
I would also like
these numbers, if you refute, you can't by the way, these numbers can't be refuted. You can try to explain what they are, but the thing is then you're knowingly putting your best hitter in a position where you know they're going to be in a least position to help you.
Well, that's not necessarily true, too.
Yeah, but they get 4 at-bats a game, Connor.
Here are your top...
They're giving up 25% right off the bat.
Hold on. Here are your top 10 run scorers from last year. Ohtani, leadoff hitter. Soto, if not 1, he's a 2-hitter. Bobby Witt's in the top 2 of your order. Aaron Judge bats cleanup, that's different. Corbin Carroll, leadoff hitter. Gunnar Henderson was in the top 2 of their order. Jose Ramirez is 3rd. Jaron Duran, Kyle Schwarber, leadoff hitter. Francisco Lindor, leadoff hitter. So of the top 10 run scorers, 7 of them or 6 of them are leadoff hitters. So
why wouldn't you want to get your best hitter more opportunities to make an impact on a game?
Well, they're behind those guys. Those guys are getting on base, and your 3-hole hitter is driving them in.
Your best hitter, though, you want more at-bats, which calculating – you get to your best hitter more frequently.
Well, you don't want more at-bats. You want more valuable at-bats.
Well, the 3rd place, then, in that same argument, is the least valuable at-bats.
Well, no. You're only looking at one side of the argument. You're looking at how many times they come up with nobody on base.
Okay.
But you also have to marry that with how many times do they come up in the 8th or 9th inning with the game on the line.
With runners on base that are usually fast. Schwarber's a little bit different. But.
They come up 60% more times. 60%. More of the time, the 3-hole hitter comes up with no one on base and 2 outs than the first guy or the second guy.
Right, because those first guy and second guy have an at-bat that guaranteed they can't come up in that spot, right?
But it still is when you're coming around, they get more opportunities because the lineup turns over and the first and second guys, unless it's a perfect game, are guaranteed to get more at-bats. They're getting the most opportunity.
I bet you, what's the lowest amount? Leadoff hitter?
Lowest amount is 2.
All right, and then the second.
No, I'm sorry. The 5-hole hitter is the lowest amount. The 2-hole hitter's the second. The first batter is the 3rd.
Third, okay. Because they lead off every single game.
5-2,
nobody on, nobody out.
5-2-1 is the least opportunity that you will have to come up with 2 outs, nobody on base. And 2, there's a reason that teams are getting their better hitters out of the 3 spot and moving them up. I mean, because they're moving them up, they're getting them more at bats. Because it says, why wouldn't you want your guy over the course of a season, gentlemen saying here, it's 27 more at bats between 3-hole hitter and 2-hole hitter.
I got you.
Would you not want 27 more at bats for Bryce Harper?
Well, it depends what the at-bats are. Right? It depends the situation. I would give up 3 at-bats to have Bryce Harper up with 2 runners on in the 9th inning in a game that you need. Like, that's the thing. If you believe that you're going to have more runs produced by giving Bryce Harper 3 other opportunities with maybe Trey Turner or Kyle Schwarber on, and you sacrifice potentially having him up in the first inning with 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, why wouldn't you have your best RBI guy batting 3rd?
Okay, let's put Bryce Harper at leadoff.
And Kyle Schwarber at 3rd.
Okay, cool. But let's put Bryce Harper at leadoff with guys like Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas batting in front of him.
And that's the next point. They're not getting on base all that much.
Okay.
And oh, by the way, all right, so Harper gets on base, great. It's awesome.
Okay, but
Schwarber, who strikes out 200 times, is now behind
But by
him.
your logic, then the best guy who's your RBI guy should be the most productive guy should be 3rd. So that should be Kyle Schwarber, and there's no discussion.
Well,
Kyle
there is
Schwarber
a
is your most
discussion.
no, because Kyle Schwarber is by far, hands down, no argument, your best RBI guy.
I can argue that. He has been your best RBI guy, but I can
Batting
make a case
first.
that all-world
By the way,
Bryce Harper can be
batting
your best
first.
RBI guy.
He's been batting first, and he's your best RBI guy, which
got you.
totally discounts your whole Marsh Rojas thing.
Well, it's this
It
team.
discounts it. Yeah, well, we're talking about this team. We're talking about it. If our best RBI guy now for 3 seasons has been our leadoff hitter, not our 3-hole hitter. It's been the leadoff hitter. Now, some injury has been a part of that.
Yeah, injury's been a part
time
of it.
has been a part of it.
And
But
oh,
he's
by the
still
way,
not beating.
you
He's
know,
still not beating Schwarber and.
If he's hitting 48 home runs, that's already 48 RBI plus X amount of runners on base whenever that does
All
happen.
the more reason why you'd want him at third then.
I
By
don't
the
want.
logic.
I don't want him first. I've never won. Schwarber
No, I
first.
understand. But it's all the more logic of why you want, if it's supposed to be your most productive, you want the table setter guy, the guy that the table is set for him, you want Schwarber in third then. If you're going to discount the numbers,
I mean,
and your best RBI guy.
I just
3 years in a row.
discount this because there is if you're batting third, there's a chance that the first 2 guys to start a game are out. If you're batting sixth and 4 or 5 go down, then you're batting.
There's a chance. But I would also say that some of your best on-base percentage guys with the Phillies are guys who bat at the top of the lineup. So that doesn't happen as much. That Schwarber has been one of your better on-base percentage guys.
Yeah.
Trey Turner has been one of your better on-base percentage
and
guys.
so then Harper comes up to bat with
so you could
both
put
of them
one-
up to on base.
But then you'd want your most productive guy third. And
Bryce Harper.
Our best guy, you guys trotted out the Rojas Marsh thing. That's totally disproven. And it's been disproven.
It hasn't been disproven. Just
3
because,
years?
Just
3
because,
years doesn't disprove it?
No, it does not. Not to me.
It
I'm
also
not- you're not
depends.
gonna
What do you
convince-
mean? You need to see a fourth?
Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber are different style of hitters too.
But they also, right, your number one RBI guy's been your leadoff guy.
You have to go deeper than the numbers, Sean. You have to.
But when you're given the numbers, you discount them.
Well, we're going deeper than them to explain why they're not telling the whole story.
Well, they're not telling the whole story, but they're telling a damn good story.
Schwarber strikes out 196 times, so it's great if Bryce leads off the game with a double, but then when he sits there all day, he sits there all day. Harper drives guys in a little bit differently.
But your argument was you don't do it because of Marsh and Rojas.
That's part of it.
No, I'm just making the argument about the 3-hole hitter, and I don't like the number that you gave.
Then where would you have Schwarber?
Fourth. I'm a traditionalist.
That is traditional.
I'm a traditionalist, man.
I don't want my best
my Big
RBI
Papa
guy.
fourth.
I don't want my best RBI guy having less at bats.
I hear you. All right.
Crazy.
Amy Fadul joins us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. Coming up next. And Pete Prisco. We'll play the clip right before Pete comes on where he decides which quarterbacks he'd have over Jalen Hurts.
Come on, Pete.
And it's comical. Discuss that next here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
All right, well, keeping an eye on... Oh, you good? All right, keep an eye on the coaches. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Kellen Moore poaching season continues to be open as the NFL offseason begins for the Birds. In addition to Doug Nussmeier and Christian Parker, Eagles running backs coach Jamal Singleton has reportedly interviewed for the Saints offensive coordinator job. Who will be the Eagles' new offensive coordinator? Well, Jeff McClain spoke to us last week about the chances it will be the Eagles' passing game coordinator, Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
All right, so we'll keep you updated on if it'll be Kevin Patullo or somebody else. I mean, I'm sure the Birds will do plenty of interviews on that offensive coordinator position, and we'll also look at what's going on with the assistant coaches. In hockey, the final of the Four Nations face-off is set for Thursday night. It will be the USA taking on Canada in a rematch. USA won the previous contest 3-1. That was this past Saturday. We'll talk to Pete Prisco coming up next. Amy Fadul also with us for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Not only can you listen to The Fanatic, but you can also watch on 97.5 The Fanatic's YouTube channel.
Watch the live stream of Kincade and Salciunas, weekdays from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and the Mike Missanelli Show from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Go to youtube.com/97.5 The Fanatic Philadelphia and subscribe today to be part of the action.
What's up, guys? Andrew, do you have cracked brick, maybe some concrete cracks or musty smells coming from your crawl space? Please don't say, oh, that's normal. The basement always has musty smells. No, that's not a good thing. And Groundworks is here to help you find the problem and provide you the solution. Now, there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer, right? So don't just go with any company that has some cookie-cutter solution. That's why you need Groundworks and their experts to come out, because they've been trained for years to be able to recommend the right option for you and your home. Once Groundworks experts evaluate your home's foundation, the pricing is transparent, and your inspector will explain everything that goes into calculating the cost. By the way, they do all of this for free. You're paying for the job itself. Groundworks understands that your home is your greatest and most valuable asset. They have financing options that fit any budget, but don't wait for a small problem to turn into a big expense. I talked to the team at Groundworks not long ago. I asked them, when do people normally call? So they have 4 stages of issues, right? And people typically call around stage 2. They don't call during stage 1 of wall failure or crawl space issues. And the problem is they wait till stage 2. And then a lot of people wait till stage 3 to actually do the job, right? They go, I can't ready to make this cost just yet. Then you wait till stage 3. That means it's more extensive and an expensive fix. Don't get to stage 4, by the way. That's failure. Go to groundworks.com. Check them out right now for your free inspection. Don't wait for that small problem to turn into a big expense. Go to groundworks.com and schedule your free inspection today.
With the cold weather upon us, don't let your home improvement projects freeze up. Let our team of preferred pros keep your home warm, safe, and prepared to tackle the cold. From heating and plumbing to junk removal and repairs, our team of experts has you covered. Make this winter easier, one project at a time, with Preferred Pros.
Clogged drains, leaking sinks, no hot water? Ace Hardware Home Services has got you covered. Schedule fast expert plumbing service at acehardwarehomeservices.com.
At Gerhardt's Appliances, you can design your dream kitchen on any budget. Shop local and save big at Gerhardt's. Find a local showroom or shop online at gerhardtsappliance.com.
Keep the cold air out and the warmth in this winter with windows that are durable and energy efficient. Call Volpe Enterprises at 855-GO-VOLPE or visit online at govolpe.com.
Check out Preferred Pros today. This paid program is sponsored by businesses highly rated by actual customers. For more details, visit 975thefanatic.com.
This is Jordan Lundy of Lundy Law. Every year, millions of people are hurt in car accidents. The numbers are overwhelming, but if you're injured in an accident, don't feel overwhelmed. Call Lundy Law. We'll remove the stress and work quickly to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. We hope we never meet because of an accident, but if we do, we're here for you. Remember our name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five. Yeah.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee. It's 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security at a great rate that won't change. It's back for a limited time. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies a monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Ray Dunn. As football winds down, college basketball is gearing up. Fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get in on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 to get $100 in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app and sign up with promo code RADIO100 to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Hey, this is Andrew Salciunas.
I'm John Kincade. This is Tyrone Johnson.
Ricky Vitalico here.
We've done some great work with businesses across the Delaware Valley.
Companies like Landis Block, Waste Management's Bagster, and Comcast Business. We only endorse businesses and products we truly use and value.
Think about the impact of hearing Fanatic personalities talking about your organization and driving customers to your company.
Go to 975thefanatic.com/advertise to learn more about how The Fanatic can help you market your products and services. This is Kincade and Salciunas, Philadelphia Sports Talk, 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right, it is 8:56 on this Tuesday morning, so now everything's better because joining us for the rest of the show.
Oh, it's better now.
Yes, it is.
It was great before, though.
It was great before, but it's better now because Amy Fadul is with us for the rest of the show. Amy, good morning.
Good morning.
So, Amy, you're going to get thrown right into the fire with us here.
I know, I heard.
Our man Pete Prisco is going to be joining us coming up in a few minutes at 9 o'clock. Pete joined us early on in the football season. He was writing some critical things about the Eagles, and there was a lot to be critical of early on in the season. But the most recent fiasco, the Prisco fiasco, was his ranking of quarterbacks. Not ranking. Would you rather have quarterbacks? This was after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, by the way.
And I had to check the date when I was watching the clip.
Yep.
I thought for sure it was old.
You thought maybe somebody posted an old
video. This was
video.
like week 5.
No, this
was a
was
bye week thing. That's what I thought for sure.
This was week 2 of February.
So it's unbelievable.
This was in the second week of February, 2025.
After he put on that performance in the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game.
So before we get him on, let's take a listen to this little clip of Pete Prisco picking quarterbacks he'd rather have over Jalen Hurts.
To me, that's easy. That's Jaden Daniels. And that's no slight of Jalen Hurts. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be special. C.J. Stroud, based on the rookie season, I thought there were a lot of things working against him last year, but I'd still take C.J. Stroud. I would take Justin Herbert. I'm big on Justin Herbert, but that's pretty close, to be honest with you. This one's really close. Can I call it even? How about that? Because I think Jalen Hurts has made big improvement. I thought Trevor Lawrence went in the wrong direction last year, so I'll call that even. I would take Jalen Hurts right now. I think Caleb Williams has a chance to move past him, but right now, the way Jalen Hurts is playing, I would take Jalen Hurts. I would take Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott's one of the more underappreciated players in the NFL. Let's not forget he led the NFL in touchdown passes 2 years ago. It's close, but I would take Baker Mayfield. I'm big on Baker Mayfield. I thought he had a great year. And let's not forget, Baker Mayfield was pretty darn good with the Browns his rookie season, got hurt, and then kind of has rejuvenated his career, so I take Baker Mayfield.
Oh, my gosh.
It seemed like a parody when he said Trevor Lawrence was even.
Yeah, toss-up.
He had a rough year last year.
That annoys that. He's had a rough few years.
He's not that good.
But here's you hear his reason, like C.J. Stroud based off of 2 years ago, not based off of last year.
Last year, which is all you need to base it off of. Because what did you see last year that you thought, going into year 3, he's definitely going to make the league?
What I saw is people were studying up on him.
Yeah. They learned him.
studied tape on him.
Yeah.
They learned what he could do, and he was a turnover machine.
Did you hear what he said about Caleb Williams? I'll take Hurts for now.
For now.
But I think Caleb's going to pass him.
because he showed you so much. And listen, I get it. Some of these guys are saddled with poor teams, bad O-lines, whatever. That's one thing. But you have to look at the actual merits of what you saw on the field from Jalen Hurts and what he was able to do when put under pressure, which was this entire season, by the way.
Yeah.
Whole season was full of pressure. And how he responded. And you're thinking, if I put Trevor Lawrence, who's even, in this situation, would he have done that? Absolutely not.
Plus, I will tell you what
Would any of those guys done that? No.
I'll tell you my gotcha is that Pete kept picking against the Eagles all the way.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
telling
guess
you,
if you're consistent.
if he comes with Jalen Hurts is winning because of the surrounding cast, then why didn't you pick him? Well,
if he's even
if you
with all
think
those
it's
guys,
so much, then why didn't you give him?
By the way, he sounded like me with Dak when it comes to Joel.
Yeah, he does.
He's
still holding on.
he's grasping on to the Dak.
I keep asking you when you turn off the lights if you're the last one out.
Yeah.
I just think if you put any of those quarterbacks he named into the situation that the Eagles dealt with, they would not have succeeded the way that Jalen Hurts did. That's just my
So
my take.
we'll be joined by Pete here momentarily.
Yes.
And because we're working things out, but it's just amazing. And look,
listen, that fuels Jalen. He loves that stuff. Great.
Good.
Let's keep it going. Keep doubting him.
I just find it amazing. Like I asked you guys last week or 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, like what would a Super Bowl ring do for Sirianni and Hurts? Like the status, the respect. We haven't even gone 2 weeks, and it's already Jalen Hurts isn't as good as C.J. Stroud.
Oh, my gosh.
We haven't even gone 2 weeks.
Baker Mayfield.
I'm surprised Jordan Love didn't come up on that list.
I know. You know what? We should ask him. What do you
Because, no, I've been down because I'm just like, at some point, stop doubling down on the bad opinion.
Right.
And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts should be number one. Like, if you notice, he didn't talk about Joe Burrow. He didn't talk about
Lamar.
He didn't
Justin
talk about
Herbert was another one.
Justin Herbert's that's
Stop.
one that scares me the
one
most.
I was like,
well,
stop.
let's talk to the source from CBS on
He
the
is.
Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business, big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. Our man Pete Prisco joins the show. Pete, good morning.
What's up? How are you guys?
Hi, Peter.
We're doing good. So it's myself, Andrew Salciunas, with John Kincade, Amy Fadul with us from NBC Sports Philadelphia here as well. We wanted to talk to you about the recent video that's gone around about you taking quarterbacks over Jalen Hurts. And
for the next 5 years, by the way.
For the next 5 years,
Okay.
we get it. And
he's 26, but I got it.
Trevor Lawrence is a toss-up.
Yeah.
What is that based on, Pete?
Well, okay, here's what it's based on. In the last, he's had four different systems, 3 different head coaches in the last.
So has Jalen.
Yeah.
So has Jalen Hurts. So has Jalen Hurts.
Well, he's had the same head coach basically the last couple of years.
He doesn't call plays.
Okay, but he doesn't call the plays. That's all right.
Oh, come on, Sirianni's involved in that offense.
But he doesn't call the plays, Pete. He's not the guy. If you're going to use that excuse for Trevor Lawrence, you can't use it and not use it for Jalen Hurts.
Injuries have been a major factor for Trevor Lawrence. Now whether that's on him or whatever, he shouldn't have played at the end of last season. He did. They shouldn't have. This year he went out for a bunch of games. He's been hurt. The offensive system was poor. And you guys, anybody who knows Doug Peterson's system, you didn't love it in Philadelphia either. I can guarantee you that. Also, his offensive line has been leaky, and that's being kind. So there's a lot of reasons for why Trevor Lawrence hasn't played as well as I think he's going to play in the next 5 years. There's a reason he was the first overall pick in the draft. There's a lot of things that play there, and we'll know more about Trevor Lawrence. Look, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't have a good season with Liam Cohen in that offense this year, then I'll come back to it and say, hey, you know what? You guys were right. But until then, I believe in the guy. I still think he's going to be a big-time NFL quarterback.
I couldn't believe you said Justin Herbert. He arguably just had the worst quarterback performance we've seen under pressure in a playoff game in 30 years.
He was getting the snot knocked out of him.
Well, guess what?
Well.
But I mean,
hey, let me ask you this though: do the Eagles have the best offensive line in the National Football League?
Pete, now look, you're taking the cheese for me here. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you start telling me Jalen Hurts is a product of the great people around him, then I'm going to ask you, then why didn't you pick the Eagles to win anyway along the season? You underestimated them. And then all through the playoffs, you were picking lousy teams that weren't nearly as good as them to beat them. So I don't understand it.
I picked the Commanders to beat them. I did.
You picked the Packers to beat them.
Well, I mean,
you picked the Chiefs to beat them.
Yeah, well, that was the Mahomes factor, and I was wrong. I think the Eagles are, from a talent standpoint, they are as talented as anybody.
And why were you picking against them all these times, against teams that weren't as talented?
Well, I thought Mahomes would be the guy that would be the doing and undoing in that one. How are you going? I didn't pick against him in that.
You thought Jordan Love was coming into South Philly to win. You thought Jaden Daniels.
You got a gift on the opening kickoff that should have never happened.
You thought Jaden Daniels was coming in to beat them.
Well, that one they didn't play very well. I give you that one. But let's go back to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Pete. Why not Jalen? Like what is keeping you from giving Jalen?
He's a good player. He's in the group with the same guys. They're all in the same guys. He's not. There's only a certain amount of elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. Then there's a group of a bunch of guys that are all together.
You know what he's done in 3 games against the best quarterback on the planet, Patrick Mahomes? He's outplayed him all 3 games. You know what he's done against? You know what he did?
If you pick Patrick Mahomes to the Eagles, would he have outplayed him?
Okay, well then you're going to fall. Well then you're saying he's just a product of what he is. Look what he did. He when he had to outduel in a 40-point game, he outdueled Josh Allen. When he had to outduel the golden boy of Cincinnati, he beats him too. When he goes up against great quarterbacks, Pete, he has a fantastic record, better than any of these quarterbacks.
When he from 2023 on until the middle of this season, when he was turning the ball over all the time, were you guys all sitting in Philadelphia?
He did not. He did not turn the ball. He turned the ball over once after the bye week. That was in September. But that was in September, Pete.
Okay. Also, his sack numbers, despite the fact he didn't pass the football nearly as much as he did 2 years ago, he still set a record for the number of sacks for him in a season with 38. Don't tell me he doesn't hold the ball too long, because I guarantee you Philly fans are bitching about that.
I think everything kind of went away after week 5 and the bye week, to be honest. I guess my thing when I was watching your list, Pete, was if I dropped any of those quarterbacks into Jalen Hurts' situation, would they have succeeded the way that he has? And I do not believe Justin Herbert would have answered the call in the playoffs the way that Jalen Hurts did. I don't think Trevor Lawrence would have answered the call, certainly in the NFC Championship game when he absolutely needed to throw the ball, or in the Super Bowl when he absolutely had to throw the ball, and he did. He threw. We all knew what the game plan was going into the Super Bowl, right? Spags knew it. Stop Saquon. They did. They bottled it all up. And what did he do? Aired it out. I don't know that Justin Herbert would have done that. And when I saw Justin Herbert have the opportunity, he didn't do that.
Look, he played well in the playoffs.
He played well
really
towards
did.
the end of the year. The Steelers
He
game.
threw for 131 yards.
That Steelers game, did
because
he
he
not
only
play?
attempted
Ravens-
15 to 20 passes.
Steelers
because
game, he aired it out.
How about the
offense dictated it
Ravens
that way.
game?
Ravens game, Steelers game.
He went into
Those are
Baltimore
playoff
and
teams.
they kicked their backsides.
Those are all
He completed 57% of his passes in that game.
Against one of the greatest defenses in the NFL, right? We're always told
the
that.
The bottom line is he's a good quarterback. Nobody's saying he's not a good quarterback.
Well, no, because
they asked me who I would take for the next 5 years, and that's who I would take. I would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts for the next 5 years. I would take Trevor Lawrence over Justin Herbert. Over Jalen Hurts for the next 5 years. Now, come back and revisit that. I could be wrong. But you got to admit, the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line makes things a hell of a lot easier for everybody.
And look, it does, Pete. But here's what I find interesting, right? Like, you'll give us numbers as to why Jalen Hurts only threw for this, only threw for that. Well, all right, the guys that you're comparing, they don't win, right? So Trevor Lawrence doesn't win.
And what do you
Jalen
do
Hurts
when you're
does
losing?
Win. Like, I would rather a guy that wins and buys into everything that they do. And Jalen Hurts bought into everything. Jalen Hurts was part of that charge, being okay with running the football as much as they did.
The Eagles beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, correct?
Yes.
If you switched the two quarterbacks, what would the score of that game have been?
What I can't
They
tell.
scored 40. They scored 40 points in a Super
So now
Bowl.
you're telling me that Jalen, because he beat him.
So you're
Jalen
saying
Hurts
what?
is a
Patrick
better
Mahomes would have
quarterback
scored?
than
We're not
Mahomes?
saying that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes.
We
We're not
didn't
saying
say that. But would Mahomes
better
have
than
scored
Justin
60?
Herbert.
Would Mahomes have scored 60? No. Would Justin Herbert have won that game?
No.
Justin Herbert can't. He never answers the bell, Pete. He
Look,
never
here's the
answers
deal.
the bell
All you gotta
under
do is
pressure.
Think about, Saquon Barkley was great this year, in large part because of the Eagles' offensive line. Was Saquon Barkley ever put those numbers up when he was with the Giants?
Well, the Giants
Hell no.
did. The Giants had traffic cones as offense. I mean, like they didn't even actually.
But the Eagles have the best
Okay,
offensive line in
then why
football.
didn't you pick them to win games against teams like the Packers and the Redskins?
Idiot. I was wrong. I'm not wrong about
I
that.
don't know.
could be wrong.
I know you to not be an idiot, though. It's like you kept doubling down on, I don't believe in this team, I don't believe in this team, I don't believe in this team. And now you're going to tell me that they should have won all along because they were this talented team.
Well, look, I was wrong. Look, the Rams, I picked them to beat the Rams. I just picked the Rams to cover, if I remember.
You did have that one.
Yeah.
Okay, and at the end of that game, they're throwing shots into the end zone to win the game, weren't they?
Yeah, they
The
did.
Rams in the snow?
Yeah, so the Bills could have beaten the Chiefs the same way.
Right.
You can't do this, Pete. You can't spin it like that.
You guys can sit there. So where is Jalen Hurts in your rankings? I want to hear the love of the Philadelphia Eagle fans now that he was. It just goes back to the Nick Foles. Remember Nick Foles? Everybody, he's great.
No.
We
all recognize where he was.
There were Eagles fans that were saying that, absolutely.
He was a flash.
Pete,
Very few.
But the three people that
It was
you're
lightning in a
talking to,
bottle.
look, John and I, before the season started, we did a ranking, right? And I think we had him around 8.
I was going to say he's a top 10 quarterback.
But he's not.
We had
He's
him
not
at 8.
15. He's also not 3. He's
We had
not
7 ahead of him.
Mahomes. He's not. We know he's not Lamar.
He's 8 to 15 is where he is.
Whoa.
In the grouping. They're all the same. They're all in the same grouping, right?
No,
only one has
guy's
a
got a
Super Bowl.
ring and has been to 2, Pete.
And he's
Winning rings doesn't necessarily make you a great.
How about
coach.
outplaying Patrick Mahomes head to head? Which, by the way, is something that somehow Bigfoot up in Buffalo, the love of everybody's life, Josh Allen, can't do. He can't do it when he has a chance.
Okay, he can't do it. He can't beat Mahomes. But are you gonna tell me that now because Hurts beat Mahomes? Hurts is better than
Hurts
Allen?
has outplayed Mahomes 3 times, Pete.
Wait,
he
is
outplayed
Hurts
him
better
in
than Allen. Hurts is better than Allen.
Yes.
What?
Because in big opportunities, he's
Wait a second,
outplayed.
Judd, there's
Yes.
not a general manager in any way, shape, or form, including Howie Roseman, who would take Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen. Nobody.
Okay, but there's a lot of GMs that would take Jalen Hurts over, guys like
Justin
Trevor
Herbert.
Lawrence, Justin
And I'm
Herbert.
gonna-
Baker
you
Mayfield.
had Dak Prescott.
You had Dak Prescott on the list. Come on, Pete.
That guy chokes every step of the way.
Prescott led the league in touchdown passes.
What happens to him in the playoffs, Pete?
He's
He
not
becomes
there.
a pumpkin.
He doesn't get there.
He's terrible. When the pressure's on, he's a terrible quarterback, and he turns the ball over.
Well, if he had an offensive line that could block the way they block, he would.
And you should have picked the Eagles
Cowboys
more.
always have an offensive line. But
I
that's
love
all
you,
right.
Pete Prisco,
Thanks for the
though.
time, man. We appreciate it.
Line in the league. Have they not had the best offensive line? Did they have the best offensive line in the league?
Yes.
Last year? Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay.
and you should
And
have
it's not
picked them
even
more.
debatable.
Well, no, the Lions are debatable.
The Lions are debatable.
The Lions are
No,
debatable.
it's not debatable. It's not debatable. It is not, because the Lions left guard was a major issue. The Lions left tackle, not nearly as good. The Lions right tackle, that's an argument. I'll give you that. The Lions right guard, Zeitler, probably Becton is a wash. 2 free agents that signed, and then they're probably a wash. And the center, probably about even, although I'll probably give Ragnow the edge. So it's close, but the Eagles have the best offensive line in the league, in large part because they have the best tackle tandem in the league, and that makes them the best offensive.
And that is a
Love you,
big deal.
Pete.
Pete, thanks, man. We appreciate the time.
You guys in Philadelphia, I mean, I've never seen it. I guarantee you, 7 weeks ago when he was doing nothing and holding the ball and taking sacks, everybody in Philadelphia was
You were talking to wrong people, Pete. Talking to wrong people. Listen, we got to go. We're getting the hook.
I used to live outside Philly. I know
you did.
We appreciate
Love
it,
you,
Pete.
Pete.
There
Thank
he
you,
is,
buddy.
Pete Prisco from CBS. Yeah, you're listening to the wrong show, or you're reading burner accounts on Twitter. We'll be right back here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
ESPN's Tim McManus on the best show ever.
It does, in a way, feel like the beginning, which is kind of crazy to say because they just won their second Super Bowl title ever. But they have a
It's
he
just
defended his position, and we'll come back in 2 years and say, like, hey, really, Trevor Lawrence? Now after.
I hate, and I say this all the time, I hate the trying to take away from someone because of what's around them, right? Then take away Kevin Durant's career.
Take
right?
away John Elway.
Take away.
He had a really good offensive line and a great running back.
Take away Kobe because he had Shaq and Pau Gasol. Like, that's the thing. Like,
take away Dwayne Wade from Shaq in Miami. He's not winning the title.
Take away Dwayne with LeBron.
You can't have success with. I mean, obviously, the old adage, it's a team sport. It truly is a team sport. But in this case, you can't. A quarterback is a position that you can decipher out of the surrounding cast. You can look at and see. And I get it. Yeah, no, I would take Josh Allen over Jalen Hurts.
I would too.
I don't think that's a big reach. Justin Herbert, I'm going to have a real problem with. Trevor Lawrence, it's easy. Jaden Daniels, I like Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to be good.
Yes.
Is he going to win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years? No, he's not.
Look, I have Mahomes,
Baker Mayfield,
Lamar, Allen, Burrow. Those are the only four guys that I would
Goff.
consider over Hurts.
Over.
Yeah, I'm taking Hurts over Goff.
Yeah, me too.
But that's four guys. He what did he say? 8 through 15?
He said
I'll give you 8. I won't give you 14.
He said 8 through 15 is the same
You're
guy.
telling me 13 or 14 guys are better than
That's
him?
crazy town.
And here's the thing. Like, all right, so I'm not saying he's Brady or Mahomes who have won without talent around them, even
Clearly.
though we act like Gronk wasn't one of the best tight ends ever, or Travis Kelce was one of the best tight ends
That's
ever.
1-2 right there.
I mean, and those guys both had them. But all right, so Trevor Lawrence is. Are you telling me he's going to step into this system and be a Super Bowl champion? We're not saying get to the playoffs and win 10 games.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield over the next 5 years. That's who he took over him. That guy's almost 30.
Are you telling me too that and that we do believe the skill set Josh Allen is prototypical. But you get so many knocks on the door to show I can beat this guy.
Yeah.
I can beat Mahomes. Got to do it one of these times.
And Hurts has done it on the biggest stage twice now.
Come on now. And he should have won a third time if he didn't fumble the ball.
Yep. All right, coming up next, I'm going to bring up today's topic with Amy about the pressure for the other teams. Also, I have a problem with the NFL. I believe it's something that needs to be fixed and has nothing to do with the game itself. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Keeping an eye on the coaching staff. I'm Connor Thomas, and we're keeping an eye on the current and the former coaching staff of the Philadelphia Eagles currently. Kellen Moore, the Eagles' most recent offensive coordinator, is now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and with that comes his opportunity to put together his own staff, and he's using a lot of Eagles positional coaches to attempt to do so. No one hired yet, but Doug Nussmeier, Christian Parker, and now Eagles running backs coach Jamal Singleton have all reportedly interviewed for coordinator jobs with the Saints. If they go there, that'll be more for the Eagles to replace this offseason. But we know that they're going to be at least replacing the offensive coordinator position that Kellen Moore left vacant. So Jeff McClain talked to us last week about the chances it could be Eagles passing game coordinator Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
So we'll see what the Eagles do at that position and any other that may come available. It's also the start of the opportunity to franchise tag players as of today. In hockey, the final of the Four Nations face-off is set for Thursday night. It'll be Team USA taking on Canada in a rematch. USA won the previous contest 3-1 this past Saturday. Amy Fadul will remain with the guys for the entire 9 o'clock hour. This update's brought to us by Staples Stores. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Vitalico.
The Eagles completely outclassed.
has done that celebration since he was in college.
If you look
You're a
at
sharpshooter. His
any,
last name's Hunt.
Is that dangerous
Stop it.
to somebody? Too? Is that like
It's an arrow?
I don't know.
Yeah, bow and arrow.
arrow.
Dangerous, Johnny. You
His
could shoot
last
your eye
name
out.
is Hunt.
And that's the thing.
True.
Stop it.
Dangerous last name.
I understand that.
Exactly.
I understand
Change
that
that.
ESPN is a publication and they don't work for the NFL. But like, the first page within the ESPN, the magazine, Super Bowl edition, is the Jalix Hunt pose because it's a great photo. So it's being promoted. I bet you. I'm trying to scroll back now. I bet you.
Oh, I bet they did.
The NFL tweeted out
Absolutely.
a still shot of Jalix Hunt doing his celebration. And if you're doing that, then don't fine him. Like, you can't promote your game with cool moments, but then fine the players for it.
That's a great.
And that's the bone that I have to pick with the NFL. Jalix Hunt's a rookie. How much money is he making?
Yeah, and the best is he goes on
made
social media and it says like, "Oh, thanks for everybody for offering to pay the fine. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
You know, if you do, I'll donate it to something else."
By the way,
think he
Rob
offered-
McElhenney offered to pay the fine.
Yeah,
I think he offered. I think he made 100. By the way, he made 125 on game day for winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Super Bowl, obviously you get a
I think
good
he gets
cut.
that check.
Yeah,
he
so
gets.
I think he
125.
tried
And
to
so
like
$5,000, you know, I get it. But like, look, nobody wants to lose money, period. Whether you're
for
a
something
billionaire or a
that's nonsense.
10-air.
Taking a bow out of your quiver, imaginary, and then come on.
The quiver.
The quiver.
See, I forgot about
That's
that term.
correct.
There it is.
But
Amy's so cultured.
I just hate that the
She's
league
so cultured.
promotes it and then
Yeah,
fines them
like you said
for
about
it.
the cleats, and they won all. And the thing is, remember when they used to have a real problem for the "My Cleats, My Cause" before they made that a thing?
Yeah,
People
yeah.
were painting their cleats. You had guys honoring their relatives and everything else, and they're like, oh. Then they saw, oh, this is something that we could take advantage of. So now we're on board with it. So it kind of goes back to, and it's ironic that it was Jalen Hurts for the cleats. The whole Michael Jordan, the reason that he was getting fined was Nike wanted to have the black and red, and there was the whole ad campaign.
Sure.
Well, until the league was like, all right, the NBA certainly is. You wear whatever it is you want to wear. In NFL, I get that there's certain player safety. That has nothing to do with cleat color. You
Yeah.
want the socks to come up a certain way. Stop it.
And posing with an arrow. Really?
it.
Like what?
Stop
what's-
it.
Is that
Stop it.
instilling? Is that trying to teach
Yeah,
violence to
someone
the kids?
watched that game and thought, you know what I'm going to go get? I'm going to go get a bow and arrow right now.
Look,
And a quiver.
And a quiver
I'm
to
just
keep all
saying.
of my arrows in.
I played
And carry it around.
I played GTA. I played Call of Duty. I played all those games. I turned out pretty okay. Those were a little bit more of an influence than what Jalix Hunt did.
Correct.
Just
A little
just
imaginary
throwing that
bow
out
and arrow.
there. Yeah.
It could be the last name, though. Jalen Hurts. Why not Jalen Heels?
Oh, it's true.
Jalix
JB.
Hunt. Why not Jalix Gather?
You're right.
there's-
Do you think this is a launching off point though for Jalen Hurts? Like we just heard from Pete Prisco and had a really good give and take with him. Do we think this is the time when now all of a sudden Jalen Hurts is going to be? We're going to see him on like a lot more ads. And
No.
a lot more. No.
No.
I think he already did that, and remember, it became a problem.
I just don't think that that's his cup of tea. I think he'll do like a couple of ads, like obviously the Jordan stuff.
Yeah.
He's a Jordan brand athlete. He just doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. There's one thing that and we talked about this last week. Do you think he's going to change? Do you think he's going to be more media friendly or in any way, shape, or form change? No. He's never changed. Like, there's nothing about him that's been altered.
I just want him to
you
be.
saw him smile.
I just want him to be happier. That's all I want.
Like, getting a
I
smile
loved
from
seeing
here
the happiness
on the
out of
parade. It was like, as they're going by us, and I was like, he's smiling.
Right. He
It was
finally
the
he finally
biggest deal.
realized how cool
And a
it
big
was.
smile.
Big smile, a
was
genuine, like,
nice.
this is great.
Yeah.
And I think now that we've gotten to see some of the mic'd up segments and the pregame speeches, you've gotten maybe a further glimpse into who he is. He is who he is. And this is how he's going to be. No matter if he wins another Super Bowl, I don't think he's going to be a different guy.
All right, Amy, our topic today, our
Yes, sir.
jumping off point.
Yes.
Did the Eagles Super Bowl do anything for the rest of the teams in the Super Bowl in terms of adding pressure, from the fan base? I look at them as separate entities.
Yes.
So the Phillies have pressure regardless of what happened with the Eagles. People are down on the Sixers regardless of what happened with the Eagles. But I'll ask you, do you believe the Eagles winning the Super Bowl does anything for these teams in terms of how the fan base views them?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I was listening on my way in, and my first reaction was like, of course it does. And then I thought about it, and I was like, does it? Does it actually? I think as a player, there's certain players that will be influenced by watching what the Eagles did and wanting to have that feeling. As a team, Do they look at it and think, wow, we need to really get on that level? Is it something that influences them that way, or is it more internal for them? And for the fan base, I think there are going to be expectations regardless. Is it because of the Eagles? I feel like some of them are such separate entities. Like, I don't know that the Flyers are in a position, the Flyers fans in a position to be like, I think they recognize what's going on. I think Phillies, that's a very, when you look at the Venn diagram that there is of the sports here, there's a lot more overlap probably between Phillies and Eagles than Eagles and Flyers for fans and expectations. So I think that was a fan base that's going to be, listen, and they know how close they were, but I don't know that the fan base is like, all right, well, the Eagles won, now you're next. I think it's, like you said, Andrew, like the Phillies fans expect it because they see what talent they've got.
Right.
They see the payroll. They see what they have been able to do in the last couple of years, and they're thinking that could be us because of where we are, not because of what the
I'm miserable with the Sixers because of the Sixers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not miserable with the Sixers because of what the Eagles have been able to accomplish.
I'm waiting to see how long it's going to be for Bryce Harper to do the watch the parade, and we need one of those.
That's his first press conference.
We're
going to hear that.
Come on, man. With his raw milk.
And you know where he'll be saying it from? The 3-hole where he bats.
He will be. Yeah.
Damn right, man.
Correct, Amy.
The good thing is just keep doing the same things over and over again.
Listen, if the man wants to bat third, he bats third.
Oh, I know. He is the boss.
There you go.
They take marching orders from him.
As they should. He's an MVP.
Giving your kids raw milk anytime soon?
No, I also don't know what coconut sugar is.
Wait, he's MVP. You got to take his advice on the raw milk.
That's
Maybe
right.
just on the baseball.
You never
On
know.
the baseball.
Shawnee might start hitting dingers.
When I watch his, like, when he makes his tea or whatever, and he'd be like, it's like coconut raw sugar. And I'm like, I don't even understand what that sentence means.
You know what that sentence means? I have a lot of money, so I can buy whatever the hell I
reminds
want.
me, anybody that's ever watched Food Network, there's this lady named Ina Garten, and she is like, she makes her own cheese and all kinds of stuff, but then she'll always qualify, be like, store-bought's fine. Like, that's absolutely that vibe.
Damn
It's
right
just like,
is.
oh, you don't have your own cow milk? Store-bought's fine.
She makes her own cheese.
I'm gonna
She
get
makes
the
like everything.
Bowling basket 2%,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly.
Save
So-
that.
Even buying the knockoff brand.
Save that $1.50.
If you can't make your own bread, store-bought's fine.
All right, let's go to Karate Mark was listening to the Pete Prisco interview and wants to chime in here. What's up,
What's up,
KM?
Mark?
There he is. Hi, Mark.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
That's a good start. That's a good start.
Mark, we loved seeing you on Friday. We loved seeing Mrs. Karate Mark more, though, slightly.
Well, she was also more spirited that morning because somebody had a little too much fun the night before, I heard.
Yeah, it seemed like a big night.
That party started post-midnight on Thursday. It
Late
went
night.
hard till about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I had my alarm set at 5 to meet you guys.
That didn't happen now, did it? All right, so you heard Pete. What did you think
There
about
will
Pete Prisco and our hatred for Jalen Hurts?
There will be no QB1 slander today, or at least until kickoff of next season. We currently host the number one quarterback in the league. And I'm just going to break that down a few different ways. If you have a set of eyes, you will see the record that the Eagles put up this season. If you have a DVR, you can go back and you can look at the mic'd up that y'all were just talking about, and you can see that not only did the Eagles go to the Super Bowl and win, but then you can see the little intricacies that make this team really special. When there was a coaching staff member who came up to Jalen post game and said, "Super Bowl MVP." He said, "No, Super Bowl champion."
Yep.
He put the team ahead of himself.
Yes, he did.
He goes to Saquon and he embraces him and says, "This is because of you. We were there. You brought us over the edge." You heard Saquon the entire time saying, "Keep it level, keep it level. The game's not over." Saquon goes to Jay at the end of the game when we're up by 1,000. Are you going to smile? Not till that clock hits 00. This team is so special, and we have the numbers to prove it. Y'all see them balls that Jalen threw? This is a quarterback that is extremely.
Yeah, he was great, Marky, and thanks for the call,
Thanks,
man.
Mark.
Great checking out. I mean, he was spectacular when
it mattered most,
and when it came time to throw. Like, I'm sorry, he didn't have to throw the football pretty much all season long, right? But when it came time to, did he do it, and did he do it well?
Did it real well.
touchdowns, multiple
That
touchdowns.
Devontae Smith ball may be one of the best balls ever thrown in the Super Bowl.
That was a perfect throw. And Trevor Lawrence. Get the hell out of here, Pete.
Stop it.
Appreciate the time you took coming on. All right, coming up next, we'll have our key three best minutes from today's show. Also, I just saw some great broadcasting news that fires me up. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
Nick Sirianni clearly had the guys on the razor's edge, ready to go out.
Ray Dunn sounds like he just smoked 8 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah, what's his deal
Make
today?
sure you're listening today at 10 o'clock.
See what it sounds like at 10.
Mike Missanelli's show with Bill Colorado. He did say he's going to go drink a cup of tea. He will be good by 10.
When I walked in, I thought it was my buddy's grandmother out in Northeast Philly. I did. It sounded like his grandma. Yeah,
you know, he sounds like
little
Rob McElhenney's mom in
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So listen at 10 o'clock with Mike, Bill, and Ray. All right, we got our key three coming a little bit, and we'll check our text line on today's topics. But I just saw something that fires me up. I imagine the two of you and Connor as well, you all will get the same reaction because you actually respect the business. There are a lot of people who don't like this man for whatever reason, but Joe Buck returns to baseball.
Oh, see, I like this.
I love it.
Joe Buck does a good job with baseball.
Yeah, he does.
Does a really good job with baseball.
He's better at baseball than football.
I would agree
I think
with
he's
that.
better than baseball and football because he usually doesn't try to be the color analyst when he does baseball.
Yep. So he is going to be returning for the opening day because they're doing a split. You know how football does the back-to-back Monday night games. They're doing 2 ESPN broadcasts.
What game is it?
Buck will be on the call for the Yankees-Brewers Thursday, March 27th.
Okay.
But apparently he's also going to be doing other games like Yankees-Dodgers at some
during
point.
the year?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good because he's one of the best baseball voices.
Yeah, he's not going to be doing a lot, but he's going to be doing, it looks like Monday Night Baseball, if they ever have a doubleheader, he'll do one of the 2 games, which was just announced this morning on Awful Announcing.
Why did he drop doing it more often?
Think he was just too busy?
Yeah.
Didn't he just have a kid a couple years ago?
Susie? I don't know. I don't think so.
What do you mean, Susie? Who are you talking about?
Susie Schuster's his wife, right?
No.
No?
No, he's a second marriage.
Are we going to do the wives not wives
Listen,
thing
I know.
again
I
this
feel
week?
like every week I educate
it?
John on who's
Who is
together.
it?
Like
It's
Olivia
not Susie
Culpo.
Susie. It's not Susie Schuster.
No.
I know he remarried, and that's why I was wondering if
Susie Schuster's Rich Eisen's wife.
Okay.
Just missed it.
There you go. She's Rich Eisen's wife.
But anyways, he also got paid handsomely to do football. And so if you're Joe Buck and you
don't have to do it.
You have summers off with the family.
Just like how one team in the city wins the Super Bowl, and maybe you're less inclined to be mad at the other teams for not winning it all.
Exactly.
But no, it's good to have Joe Buck back.
Yeah.
I really think he does a really, really nice job.
So, yeah, by the way, he remarried
Michelle
Beisner in 14.
There it is.
They have twin sons. So I don't know when the twins were born, but at some
I
point.
looked up and I was like, who's Susie? Olivia Culpo and Julian Edelman.
I was like, I'm having people
Sorry, John.
swapping
I was
wives.
like, they are. I was like, I think she
Swapping
dated Danny
wives and
Amendola.
doing that.
You're watching too many soaps,
Exactly.
dude. Your life is becoming a soap.
Hey, they don't do this stuff in Port Charles.
I don't know. That's the next series.
Maybe they do.
Next season, they might be doing that.
They do.
All right, what do we have on the text line there, Connor? By the way, the Joe Buck hate, I still don't get. My 2 best friends, Jack and Jimmy, can't stand him. We argue every time he's on the. I get excited when the Eagles are on Monday Night Football.
On football, I've said it to you before. I don't like play-by-play guys that insert themselves into the color analysis. He does it a lot. He's eased up on it more. I listen to Troy Aikman tell me what happened in the play. I don't need the second analyst to be a play-by-play guy. That's to me. But I think he's
great.
I think he's a brilliant play-by-play guy. Brilliant.
That's where he came from.
Yeah,
obviously, with
baseball,
his dad.
because his dad.
He's
Yep.
brilliant.
All right, what do we got on the text line, Connor?
Joe the Cynic checks in, says, you would think the Eagles winning puts pressure on the other 3 teams, but I don't think they really care. If anything, it should show the players how they can be adored and celebrated like no other city can do. I'd look at it more as motivation than pressure.
Okay.
Yeah, we had that tweeter say that earlier today. I like that.
Good way to put it.
What else we got?
All right, we have a check-in on the pressures conversation as well. This absolutely should put more pressure on the Phils for one reason alone, to have the perfect year of Eagles and Phillies championships.
That'd be wonderful.
That would be really
well. The one
cool.
thing is too is like sands through the hourglass. The Phillies better be looking at it
Yeah.
because this is
You have a window.
this is a
the
window
thing.
and it's closing.
Like, look, today we're doing the pressure conversation compared to the Eagles, but when we get closer to baseball season, like that is a legit topic.
the window is closing on the Phillies.
I'm going to fight the fight that it's not.
I know you will, and you will fight it admirably. If you remember last year, I talked about sort of that comment. Remember, I was getting crushed from people online, and like, look, I'm just saying, like, Schwarber's got what, 1 year left? Castellanos got 2 years left.
Schwarber's a free agent end of the year.
Yeah.
Schwarber's a free agent. You're gonna have to make a decision on JT Realmuto, a free agent end of the season.
I think they
make a
signed
move on.
Schwarber.
I think so
I do too.
Yeah.
Now, the one exciting thing about this
JT?
this Phillies team,
I know he wants to get a.
Yeah, I know he does.
The one exciting thing about this Phillies team is they do actually have a farm system for
Exactly.
They do.
And so it doesn't mean the window's not fully closed.
But if you try to win this year, if they think they're in a position to win this year,
you trade some of those prospects, which they should have
because
done
they haven't
last
been
year.
doing because they haven't been doing it. So you think that they'll mortgage that? It's not like they have a ultra deep farm system.
They've got some guys.
But they've got guys compared to where they were.
Yeah, they've got
compared to
some
where
guys.
they were a few years ago.
They have
they're
some
in-
nice players.
I mean, you have a
Really
guy
good.
that could legitimately be a top end of your rotation starter and painter. You have what could be a cornerstone player in Miller, outfielder in Justin Crawford.
Aiden Miller's got a lot of hype about him,
I know he does.
and he's been delivering on the hype.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It is time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3, our 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
So, Johnny, the Eagles win the Super Bowl, but it's not just about winning the Super Bowl in February of 2025. It's about winning the Super Bowl 52, getting back to another one in Super Bowl 57, winning in Super Bowl 59, having a roster that is built where you can have the conversation about the D word, right? Swarming. That's how good this Eagles team is, and that's how good this Eagles team has been across different regimes. The Doug Peterson regime, into the Nick Sirianni regime, and of course, we know all the years of Andy Reid, even though they didn't get the job done ultimately, there was a lot of success. In that span, you had a baseball team that had a 10-year playoff drought, but at least they won a World Series at one point. The Flyers have just kind of been there in my life. Like early 2000s, a lot of fun to watch. 2010, they get to the Cup. Since then, you're in one a year, you're out the next year.
Exactly.
And then, of course, we all know what the Sixers did for years with the process, and so far it has led to you to second-round exits. Still.
So far?
So far.
Or are you expecting something different? Are you expecting that there's something going to walk through the door that this is all going to change at some point?
No.
It's not.
Right now.
It's good. I'm glad the light bulb's
right
going
now.
off for it. The body's dead. The coroner has toe tagged it. It is dead. That period of our lives, worthless.
Yeah, well.
Worthless.
I got to watch some nice things.
Yeah, it's great. That's it. Yeah. Woo.
From CBS, our man Pete Prisco joins the show.
The bottom line is he's a good quarterback. Nobody's saying he's not a good quarterback. They asked me who I would take for the next 5 years, and that's who I would take. I would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts for the next 5 years. I would take Trevor Lawrence over Jalen Hurts for the next 5 years.
Would Justin Herbert have won that game? He never answers the bell, Pete. He never answers the bell.
All you got to do is think about, Saquon Barkley was great this year, in large part because of the Eagles' offensive line. Would Saquon Barkley have put those numbers up when he was with the Giants?
Well, the Giants
Hell no.
did. The Giants had traffic cones as offense. I mean, like they didn't even actually.
But the Eagles have the best
Okay,
offensive line in
then why
football.
didn't you pick them to win games against teams like the Packers and the Redskins?
I was wrong.
What does the Eagles Super Bowl do for the rest of the teams in this city? Does it increase the pressure, or are they their own entity that it shouldn't even matter what one team is doing compared to what the other team is?
I think that what it should mean is that there's a bar of expectation in this city, and there's a bar of expectation in this city that has not been met by the other franchises. The Flyers haven't met it in a generation.
Yeah.
But there has been at least failed plans, but a plan. And now there was a commitment to tearing it down and starting over.
Which I'm in favor of.
And, I'm totally in favor of it. And I hope that before the trade deadline, we see more veterans leave town and we see them get more assets in what should be an amazing draft this year. They got to do it, and they're doing it. I believe they're doing it the right way. The Sixers have been what the Sixers are. I don't need to get myself aggravated at 6:04 in the morning. But they've just been who they are. And they doubled down on a failed philosophy this offseason. Now we get to the Phillies. And the Phillies are, second highest payroll in baseball last year. Endless assets. But if you don't make the right decision, or if you recreate the mistakes of the past, or you don't learn from what causes you to fail, you're never going to be the Eagles. Because what the Eagles do, Andrew, is they rip the Band-Aid off.
Yes.
When things are bad for the Eagles, they say, nobody thinks we can fire the coach who won the Super Bowl a few years ago? Sure we can. Nobody thinks that we can get rid of coordinators or a wholesale change of roster in one off season? Oh, hell yeah we can. Because the Eagles have an urgency about them. I worry that the Phillies organization does not share their urgency. And what my hope is that somebody would have said, yeah, you know what the Eagles are doing? They're doing it again. They're knocking on the door. Let's see if we can match their urgency. Unfortunately, no other organization in town matches their urgency.
And that was the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show. And, of course, the final hour, we've been joined by Amy Fadul. Amy, we haven't asked you because we had peed on, we got busy. How was Friday
That was
for
great.
you?
It was great.
Super Bowl parade day.
I have so many people to thank, all of the police officers that helped me get to my work after they shut down the roads earlier, and I'm driving down Patterson Avenue at 8:15 after it's already been shut down, and people are yelling at me like,
Hey,
you can't be there.
who's
And
that?
I rolled down my window, and they're like, oh, hi. I was like, hi. Any chance you could? A smile and a prayer got me a lot of places. So thanks to all the Philly cops. Thanks to all the people that helped me get to my location. Thanks to the good folks that I met on the subway platform at the NRG station that shared Little Mad Dog, which I shared with the people. I could not drink it at 8:30 because I was headed to work, but I did enjoy sharing it with everybody else after we were done, one of which was Ray Dunn. And it was a great day. It was so
enjoyed.
much. It was fun to be with. So I was partnered with, because we broadcast on NBC Sports Philadelphia and NBC 10. So I was partnered with Frances Wang, who was amazing and one of my favorite people. And she had never been a part of something like this. So I was trying to prepare. The thing is, you can't really prepare anybody for something like that. But seeing her experience that also for the first time was as much fun as watching all of the fans enjoy it. It was really great.
The numbers they were saying last night, I saw the local news about how few real problems. Many people being in the city limits.
Yeah, I mean,
man,
we should
very
have called
few.
it. The guy was an idiot that he got upset for a line being cut.
Right, I mean,
for a porta potty.
and that was, but overall,
Yeah,
it was
really.
a really joyous day that was not met with a lot of crime.
Yeah,
and
people were
everything.
asking me, was it going to be like Sunday night after the Super Bowl? And I said, it's a much more joyful. We saw people helping people. Some people, were not feeling well, whether it was a medical condition or it was because they had, been drinking since 5 a.m. They helped people around. You saw people offering seats up. I thought it was, you can't see. You have a young kid. Here, step in front of me. Things like
that's
that.
amazing.
I saw that all up and down Broad. It was really great.
We talked about earlier what Saquon did with the ball man.
When he saw that guy, I was just like, wait a minute.
I mean, that's really cool.
There was
And
a
then
lot of those
ball
things.
man
The
is
ball,
still
the ball
driving.
man.
It's driving Connor.
I don't
What's
know, it
wrong
just
with
sounds
ball man?
uncomfortable to say ball man. Ball
But he is a
boy.
ball
does.
man. He's not a boy.
I'm just trying to say for the audience, if I say he picked up the ball boy, they go, oh, he picked up a 30-pound kid.
The equipment guy for
No,
the
he
Eagles.
picked up
There you
a
go.
ball
Yeah.
man.
That's different.
A
The
member of
equipment.
the equipment staff.
Perfect.
By the way, did you
Ball
see?
man sounds weird.
Did you see the medical staff, the sign they had
About how
on
the
their bus?
injuries and all that.
21
Yes.
of 22 stars.
Yes.
That's
That was a
awesome.
great one.
That
That
was
was
a great
great.
sign.
I love to see the joy in everybody's face, and it was Amy. It was my first time doing that
Yeah.
and experiencing.
It was a great one.
That just.
It was bigger than
I'll remember that.
27.
I'll remember that moment forever.
Yeah, it was
unbelievable.
everybody was just they were very joyful and well prepared. Listen, when people bring it, they really bring
The
it.
video I got of John
Very well prepared.
retweeted by one Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, Shaquille
Oh.
O'Neal was spreading that around.
Thanks a lot.
He did a good job
That's
there.
good.
And
It's good to know people, Johnny.
Sherelle Parker was very prepared, except for her speech.
Yeah.
Maybe over.
Maybe
Madam
over
Mayor.
prepared.
Maybe
Maybe a little
Mayor.
too much.
Madam Mayor, the weird thing was on your coverage of NBC Sports Philadelphia, and you hear people wrap it up.
Like, let's go.
You hear it.
Like,
You hear
hey.
it. It's like, come on.
I thought Shapiro was like, I'm going to talk for this long, and then I'm going to realize that it's not about me and move on.
Hey, join us and our generous partner, Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors, and make a donation to the AACR today, the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR. I'm living proof cancer research saves lives 3 times over.
Damn right you are, Johnny. Amy, thank you as
Thank
always.
you, guys.
We
Good to see
appreciate
you,
it.
Amy.
Good to see you.
We'll be bugging you again next week. Johnny, have a great rest of your day. Mike
will.
Missanelli show with Bill Colarulo and Mac from Always Sunny's mom. Ray Dunn will be